Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. But do me a favor, before the podcast starts here, click the little subscribe button in the corner, all right? If you don't like the podcast at the end of it, unsubscribe. Totally get it. That's fine. If you do, then you'll get a notification every time you come on YouTube. At the very bottom, it's a silent one. It doesn't do anything. Just a little red dot on your little envelope down there. It'll tell you that there's a new episode that you can check out. I hope you enjoy the podcast. All right, so my podcast this evening is here with Bill Kenny, and he is in a band called Domestic Problems, and I listened to some of the music. I liked it a lot, actually.
Thanks.
Like I told you before the podcast, I felt like I heard a little Bare Naked Ladies and Dave Matthews Band sort of a setup in there.
Yep.
And I dig anything that's like a compilation with horns and all. Like,
Sure.
Like I said, my favorite Cure songs all have the big horns and
Yeah.
stuff like that in there.
Yep.
If there's anything that's got horns in it, I don't know, I kind of like zone in on it. Like My Boys, I'm like, hey, I don't want to influence you as to what you listen to for music, but I want you to listen to music in a way like not just like an overall listen to what's going on in the different instruments and
Right.
stuff like that. So are you picking up the drums? Are you picking up so they kind of dig horns too. So it's it's always fun to try and I don't know how I'd put it. Like you can listen to music, but you got to hear it also.
You experience it, yeah.
Right,
It's like
right.
any kind of art.
Right,
You can't just walk by if you're in the Chicago Art Museum. It's like walking by and glancing and moving on. It's
Right.
I think music's the same way. Like you said, you experience it. You listen to it as a whole and you break it down and kind of listen to it. That's I think a really good way to approach music.
Right.
Because
right.
a lot of times, ideally, you'll find something that you like from it.
Yes. Now, how long have you been in the band? Like, when did it start?
1992, I think. 1992. So
Wow, that's a little time.
27 years, yeah. So it's been a while.
How long yourself have you That's not when you started playing instruments.
No,
obviously.
I think the first instrument I picked up was the trumpet when I was in third grade. So
Nice.
Originally, I thought it had 3 notes because there was 3 valves. I'm like, I'm gonna choose that. I
That's
went right
gonna
for the easy route,
But breezy.
My mom wanted the saxophone really bad. I'm like, that looks like it has a whole lot of notes. So I'm not gonna do that.
Right. So what? And so in the band, is it just horns that you play, or what? I think I saw you with a ukulele or something in your hand. At one point,
mandolin.
Too. Mandolin. Okay.
So when we originally started, we had different horn players. When we first started off, I thought I could pick up a guitar and kind of learn it. And
Right.
I sort of learned it, and so the very first instrument I played in the band was a guitar, and then I moved over to bass guitar when we got someone else that was good. And then when they realized I couldn't play bass, I kind of get pushed down. I'm the second tier trumpet, and I'm the only trumpet player in the band. So eventually, I might be out there too.
Nice.
But
nice.
yeah, it was the guitar at first, and that's how it started.
Right. No, that's great. Okay, so you brought me a couple CDs or 3 CDs here,
Yeah.
and you were explaining what they were. So go ahead and do that again. Explain to me. You said you had 2 that were with the band, and then one that kind of or you said one with the band, one that was kind of a solo project between you and another guy,
Yeah.
and then the third one.
Yeah, so the first one is Scatter Pieces, the one with the guy there. That's not Scatter Pieces. The very first album we ever put out was Scatter Pieces. That's called Patiently.
Yeah.
That was the last studio album that Domestic Problems did, and I think it was 2001. It's so old now.
Yeah.
It
honestly, it doesn't. No, I don't. I don't get it's timeless as far as it sounds like a bunch of people jamming together and having
Right.
a really good time. So
Yeah.
I don't see why, but I don't know. Most of my friends are old anyway, so going to New Lenox to the band shell and seeing Blues Traveler is a thrill because it's still great music.
Right.
I mean, I listen to Counting Crows and all that
Sure.
kind of stuff. That's all fine. Like I was telling you, my music taste is all over the place.
Yeah.
A little bit snobby when I was a kid, but totally breached into if it sounds good. I mean, if it what was the one that just came out that would totally be something I'd be like, oh no, that Portugal the Man song.
Okay. Yep.
It's still God It's Still or whatever it is, but
Right.
it was terrific. I love that song. I was like, man, that is a kick-ass fucking song.
Yeah.
But in high school, I would have been like embarrassed to be.
I know.
I'm listening to this.
Yeah, musical ego's out the window, I feel
Yes,
like.
yes.
Once you experience it more. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, that one. And then, so now this is the project between you and just another guy?
So me and Andy, the lead singer, we were, so after we kind of stopped, Domestic Problems sort of stopped playing around 2003 or 4. We had like our quote-unquote last show.
All right.
And, guys were getting married, moving off, doing their thing, because we were full-time for about 5 years.
Right.
And that's all we did. We played, 280 shows a year. And then so, we pulled off the road, and I started writing songs. I'd never written a song before, really. I'd help write some of the music, but never wrote a song.
Yeah.
So after we started doing that, me and Andy got back together and took some of our sort of slower songs and recorded an album called Forgotten Years, and we called our band Home Again.
Okay.
So it was just kind of our opportunity to take some of these songs that we really didn't know what to do with. And
now on iTunes, is that still under the Domestic Problems?
No, it's actually under Home Again.
Okay, so those I've never heard.
Right.
Right, because I only looked up and I mean, that's on iTunes also.
Yes.
So I mean, if anyone's want to check it out, there was some on the Domestic Problems one. There was some like piano-y ones, like that talking about In Love or something like that.
Right.
It was good. I think I got more of like it's like an older 70s band kind of thing from the piano thing. Not Billy Joel, but like, who is the dude with the beard? Man, I can't even think of.
It's not Billy Joel?
No, not Billy Joel. I was getting more of like I think the band had like a group, big group of people.
Okay.
The guy was like kind of heavier set guy playing the piano. What was the movie? Oh, the 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
He's on the TV constantly.
Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald.
Yeah, okay.
I got like a
the
Michael
Doobie
McDonald.
Brothers,
Right, the Doobie Brothers. Yeah,
Right.
right. So, which is a big bunch of guys playing a bunch of instruments. So, so nowadays, it's weird, right? Because like my sons will be doing a job and they'll have like some kind of like SoundCloud thing on,
right?
Where these aren't songs that are mainstream or anything.
No,
they're just listening to somebody jacking around,
right?
So I'm like trying to listen to it and I'm like, oh my god, there's not enough going on in any of this. Like, why don't they have more? Like, I like a band that's got a bunch of different, like things going on. You got bass guitar, lead guitar, keyboard,
right?
All that stuff. Some of the stuff, it's like, just a guy with a sound mixer and he's just saying. And the one time we were like on a job, and I'm like, that can't be on.
You're right.
And like, really, I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to pick on rap, but if he's just gonna say cock and balls and pussy and cocaine, and like, you can't, like. And he was just like, I mean, he might as well just said what I just said in a loop: cock, balls, cocaine, pussy, pussy, pussy. I'm like, hey, no, that's. First off, that's not music. Second off, you cannot let like a 70-year-old homeowner hear that.
Right.
So yeah, no.
It's the curse and the blessing of that sort of medium for music now. Like anybody can get something out, which is great, and also not great. Because anybody could get something out.
yes. No, I mean, some of it is. What's funny is, so like, there's all kinds of people that my sons know personally that are like Little Rock and they're all little.
It's always little something.
Little something. And what you call it? Like, I try and find the stuff to listen to, and I'm like, wow, who's funding this? Because this is not good.
This is a little annoying.
Yes, right. Yeah, right. That's what his name should be. Right? Little Mess. But I think that nowadays parents have more of a. I mean, I think getting a compliment out of my parents was like impossible.
Oh, wow.
Right? I mean, my dad was like constantly, you ain't worth shit, you ain't nothing. And it was like, it made me want to like prove that I was.
Sure.
Where kids nowadays, I think every parent's telling them they're a goddamn rock star. And like, you're not helping.
No.
I guess there's a school of thought that says you're giving them courage, you're giving them an ego, but like ego with nothing behind it.
Right.
It's nothing. It's not a thing. And I mean, you can listen to, like I said, I hate to. I'm not an old codger. I like some rap stuff. There's some, politically, like the Kanye thing, and but he's got some music that,
he does,
makes you stronger. All that that's all cool stuff.
Yeah.
I love Eminem.
Eminem's great.
Oh my god,
I could listen to him all day. Yeah.
The thing about Eminem is, if you can the music's fine. It's it's going to be to a regular beat or whatever. But if you actually listen to what the guy's lyrically saying, it's pretty fucking cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, raps around to like, all meshed together and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this guy's a fucking genius. I hate to throw that word around, but
no, I mean one of the things that I was telling my wife about when I listened to rap, and I think this is more of a recent thing because even when I compare it to like 80s rap, because 80s rap is just sort of kind of fun love, it's just goofy. It was goofy.
Yeah.
But now it seems like rap is about how rich you are, and apparently every club the DJ isn't playing the music loud enough, so we got to turn it up. It's like, how rich am I? What do I have? And turn up the music. Right. It's like, okay, the theme, I get it.
Right. And then it's even funnier when they're doing it on SoundCloud. You know they don't have shit.
Right.
He's talking about Cristal and everything else. I'm like, dude, you've never even tasted Cristal.
Right, exactly.
The Dom is not happening for the bum.
Right. It's the Andre.
Yes, right. And I'm like, the other thing is like especially with my boys, like I've always been a guy that like, I don't say shit as far as like anything goes. Like tough guy nonsense. Everyone that's got the tattoos of daggers and dragons and stuff, like I giggle.
Right.
You're trying to look tough. That means you ain't.
Right.
So,
exactly.
It never was a big mouth guy or anything like that. But if you got out of line, I'm gonna fucking hit you.
Right.
So you're gonna fall down. But so this thing, I'm like, hey, boys, I don't like. I want you to listen to whatever you want to listen to, and I don't want to be this old codger. They can have whatever. Obviously, I had a mohawk. They can have whatever damn haircuts they want. They can do whatever they want. They don't want to do any of that. But I just don't want them walking around the world thinking that being braggadocious like that is somehow a real thing. Because that's another thing. Ego, nothing behind it.
Right.
You're gonna hit him. He's gonna fold like a lawn chair.
Right.
There's nothing.
Right.
But then again, I'm sure that there's some way upside to having the ability to get a computer program and mix your own stuff and sample stuff. And I think it's terrific that people are taking an interest.
Right.
I think we sort of lost a little bit as a people in the country for a little while. My grandfather, his father was born in Germany. When they came over, all of my great-grandfather's kids were required. My grandfather played clarinet. Like you're required to play an instrument. You have to play something. You have to play something. For some reason, I think my grandfather didn't like it, so he didn't make his kids do it.
Sure.
Which is a huge mistake because you're like, and I don't want to be like the dragon parent, but the more things you have your kids do, the better. The more full life they're going to have. Because
I wish my parents would have made me take piano lessons.
Right.
When I look back, I say, I tell that to my son. My son he's 7 years old. He's really pushing back on. He doesn't want to play piano, and I told him, like, listen, just give it a year. Give it 1 year. If you give it 1 year and you don't want to do it, still, that's fine.
Right. Seven's a little too young to explain girls.
Right. Exactly.
Like you need to show a picture of like some of the ugliest artists in the world and their wives.
Exactly. Right.
See what happened there?
See, that's when he's going to come back when he's a teenager, when he quits piano. He's like, why didn't you make me keep doing it?
Yes,
like, well, see, I tried to explain it to you, but you said gross,
Yes, right. I took one summer and my problem was, like, I'm still exactly the same today. I'm wired. Like, I'm a real estate broker, general contractor. I do the podcast. In a couple weeks, I'll be coaching wrestling. If I don't have something to do all the time, like right before you got here, I'm in the gym for 2 hours, like lifting weights, and I worked all day editing a podcast and real estate stuff. So, like, for me, it's just constant. I got to keep up.
Your schedule tires me. I only vaguely know about it loosely through Facebook. I'm just like, how does he do this? I take a nap from reading about what you do.
I take care of this asshole in a wheelchair too, so he's a pain in the ass too. So it's a lot. But for me, if I don't have that, like, I detest TV. I don't like, and that's the reason. Like the podcast thing. I started like two and a half years ago listening to podcasts, and I was like, man, this is like I can do my work and hear about astrophysics, and it's super cool because I'm hearing about astrophysics not from some asshole talking shit from like Neil deGrasse Tyson,
right?
And he's got whole like hours that I'm listening to. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm totally understanding like space propulsion and like, and I'm not supposed to understand any of that shit.
No.
But if I'm here on the planet to learn shit, then. And that's why I took a stab at like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast and I want to do a podcast with people who know stuff.
Right.
So like, come on and like, I'm going to have a conversation with you. And I've always been better at retaining a conversation and stuff that goes on
Right.
than like reading it.
Right.
You know what I mean, because
me too.
If I start reading, I'm asleep.
Right.
I'm going to sleep. And I do like a girl I dated turned me on to novels and stuff like that. And I do love a book. I actually have like a favorite author.
Okay.
All that now, but it still is. It's so much better like to put a podcast on, like
I
hear all
agree.
this deep stuff.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's got books.
Yeah.
But in 2 hours, I'm getting a ton out of what he's got to say. And
It's crazy what you can get in that.
I listen to Joe Rogan, and he's got
He's good.
all kinds of different like physicists, and I mean, there's like nuclear physicists, and like anything you could think of. That dude's got somebody on there. He's got like guys that are like. There's one guy that like could hold his breath for like some like 8 or 9. Like he climbs mountains and stuff like that.
I was gonna say if he was a deep sea diver. I know that some of
the like single breath guys.
Right,
that go
right.
Down, right. And then he's got the guy on there that does. I don't know if you check out Netflix, but he's got that guy that free solo guy, the guy who climbs like all those rocks with nothing on him.
Yeah.
And me and my sons were in the gym, watched a documentary with that, and like I was nervous the entire time. I'm like, man, I know I saw this guy on Rogan after the documentary, so I'm pretty sure he's alive.
So you got the spoiler, but see, I can't watch stuff like that. See, that stuff
killed me.
I can't watch even when you know the ending like that. I'm good. I can't. I can't go on rides that go in circles, and I can't watch that.
Yeah. So I mean, okay, so the going on stage thing. How do you did you have stage fright? And everything else?
Actually, I did. Early on, well, I mean, part of it was because I really didn't know how to play the instrument I was playing. The very first time we played, it was a talent show at Aquinas. We came in second, and it was the very first song.
How old were you?
I was in I want to say sophomore in college.
Oh, in college. Okay,
yeah. So and I wasn't playing the trumpet, so I wasn't even playing an instrument I was a little more comfortable playing.
Sure.
So I'm playing guitar. I'm soloing, and I listen to things back. I listen to old tapes, and I'm just, oh my God, people showed up for this. I don't know what they were thinking. But, I would, this friend of ours, his name is Scott Hammontree, who ends up becoming our manager all the way through our careers, and now he owns one of the bigger clubs in Grand Rapids.
Sure.
His dad owned a hardware store, and he gave me a hat to wear. So I took a hat and just pulled it down above my eye. Yeah, it kind of helped.
It's like a David Bowie thing, though. David Bowie says he put on all those personas because he had stage fright that was like out of this world,
right?
And he could just get on stage as somebody else, as an alter ego, and it would, he could cure it that way as far as that went. He would just go deep into that alter ego and be it's not David Bowie, it's Ziggy Stardust out there.
It makes sense because I feel like when I come across some musicians, they're really. They're really introverted. There's a lot of them that are introverted. And you kind of look at them and just say, how do you get up on stage? And especially like some pretty popular ones, how do you get up on stage and do that?
Right.
And they're up singing. Like I could kind of go in the background and play the mandolin and, play the trumpet and just sort of blend in.
My theory on that is pussy.
Right. Yeah. The will overcome pretty much anything.
That guy was not getting laid in high school.
Exactly.
Right. So
that's what it is, I'm sure.
I'm going to get up there. There's going to be some girls.
I'm going to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's where some of the drug use comes in too, And,
it probably takes an edge off to do it.
Sure.
I am not, I mean, obviously, drug use is around and like, there's people that have pot and have been around it. I don't know how anybody could. Playing an instrument seems hard enough to me as it is.
Yeah.
How could you do it like lit up? Like totally. And I mean, some of those like, people like, Jim Morrison was a guy who was just singing. So I guess you can just get out there and do that. And some of his shows went really in the shitter fast.
Right.
But like Ray Charles and stuff like that. Like this guy's, he's not like.
And he's lit up. I mean, some of the stuff he was taking.
Yes. I feel sorry for people who don't do deep dives into music and like really. So I'm torn, right? Because there's only so many hours in the day,
right?
And I've either got like music on, my whole house is wired for sound, and like so I can have music on all the time, or I've got a podcast on. But I've always got something. Sometimes I think I might be addicted to like info or screen or whatever. But I gotta have. I can't stand it when there's nothing.
Right.
Like I mean, if I go into the shower, there's music on or a podcast on.
Yeah.
Like it's just constant information coming in. I think I'm always like, you're on the planet for such a short period of time. I want to have so much. And music is so awesome if you're actually hearing it. Like if you're actually listening to Ray Charles, everything that guy sings, there's feeling in, when he was busted, like you feel like that's a hobo guy who's got no money.
Right.
Like, and I was just getting ready to call on you, his brother. Those are awesome. Everything from that to like Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash is like just incredible. Like you believe that guy's been to prison,
right?
And he hasn't.
And then you wonder with those types of people, you wonder with the medium that we were talking about, how easy it is to put things out. Is that going to go away, or will it always be here? You know what I mean? Like it's or will it be here and we're just not listening to it anymore, or too few people are listening to it?
I think there's a direct correlation. You're totally, I totally 100% agree, because when MTV came around, it sort of ruined music a little bit. All of a sudden, it was pretty people that were. And listen, if you're ugly, you've got sorrow. Like there's every day you look at yourself like, oh shit, like I'm this guy again. So like you've got something that you can sing about. If you're like Rick Springfield, dude,
you're okay, bud. You're gonna be fine. Or listening to Justin Bieber singing about relationships. It's like, it's hard to take that,
Rick Springfield could get laid selling pants at the mall.
Right. Yeah, you don't need Jesse's Girl. You can get another one.
Right. So, like, I think that there's definitely a time in music where it went shitty, and then people that, like, through the 70s that dug bands that were, like, metal bands and stuff like that, those people didn't care. I mean, they don't care what you look like. They just want that.
Yeah.
And then... like music's weird because like if I hear a song, you'll never catch me listening to like Motley Crue or Poison or any of that stuff. But if I hear it, I love it. Like I'm like, oh man, I remember being at this concert in Alpine Valley. It was totally awesome. But like I would never like seek it out to be like, all right, today I'm in the mood to listen to some like hair band shit music that I listened to when I was a kid. But if I hear an AC/DC song, oh my God, man, I feel like lifting weights, and I'm like, who made who?
Right. If you're like flipping through, you turn it up,
Right.
There's the music you appreciate, and there's the music that's nostalgic, and both of them have their part, you got to listen to it.
I do. So the first album I ever bought I bought two at the same time, and I bought Black Sabbath Paranoid, and I bought Led Zeppelin 2.
Nice.
Those were my two first albums. What were your first albums?
One of them was I want to say the first album I got was a Who album, and I'm trying to remember.
That's awesome music.
Who's better? So I listened. I loved Pete Townsend. Pete Townsend was like the guy I idolized as a guitarist. I never will be like him, but I got a chance to see them in concert probably about 10 years ago now, maybe a little more. But it was right after John Entwistle died, so it was like literally week after or so. But it was so cool to see them play. But
Pete
I think
Townsend's solo stuff is some of my favorite music that's out there.
Yeah.
The Steve Carell had a movie where he was singing the My Love song. I think it's a Pete Townsend song that Let My Love Open the Door.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, just like I was like, oh man, that's just spectacular stuff. There's so much good stuff. It's like impossible to fill it, right? The Traveling Wilburys, I could just listen to that for like hours. I mean, I love Roy Orbison. There's an ugly man who could sing.
Yes.
Woo, man.
And his pipes are crazy good. The Traveling Wilburys. I mean, I'm trying to think. Was there only two of them alive? Or no?
Oh, yeah, I don't know who's alive now. Harrison's dead.
Harrison's gone. Orbison's dead. Petty's is gone. There was one other guy. I don't know who it was, but I think he's maybe the only one alive.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think that I ever heard, and I seeked it out, anything bad from them. No. Like, that's just too much talent in one room.
Yeah, they can sing the ABC song in those harmonies, and it's just, I'll listen to it. That's just beautiful. Right.
No, I mean, like, I grew up on Magic 104, like the oldies station.
Yeah.
My dad was like always. It was kind of like, I mean, Simon and Garfunkel, and then Paul Simon by himself, and there, like I said, there's just, and I guess someone's gonna listen to this podcast and be like, what about
right? You're gonna miss somebody.
Jason something, some country singer,
right?
And I don't know anything about, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot. And I have a relationship with new country that is, I posted on Facebook the one day. I'm like, I will not listen to new country because I'm afraid I might like it. And I don't want to listen to that stuff. Like,
I can see that, yeah.
Jason Aldean, I think, was the one that was like, somebody posted something like Jason Aldean. I'm like, what is it, Jason Aldean? What? I don't want to know. But, just to me, the new country music, strikes me as, and you know, if I could get a country singer on here, we could talk. Maybe, you know, I'd change my mind. I'm sure there's some talented guitarists that Irving guy is supposed to be like an awesome guitarist.
Oh, some of the musicians are really good. Vince Gill's a crazy good guitar player.
Is he? Yeah.
And but, you know, then you got to listen to the words and stuff too.
Yeah, the word.
You know, if you could just solo the whole time, I will listen.
I think if you could just get past the persona part, because the persona part bothers me, because I feel like these two groups hate each other anyway, but they just had that Old Town Road song where like rap people and the country thing mixed.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we all like it's all good together. Like it's, you know, I don't know what to think. I hate black people, but you know, this is great. But like the situation with that, it's too reminiscent of each other.
Right.
To me, it's like when you see like hardcore Christians that hate hardcore Muslims.
Right.
And like, if you just read each other's book, you'd think you believe a lot of the same things.
Exactly. Take the title off it, you won't know which one you're reading.
Right. So rap's the same way, right? The guy, if he puts on the chain and he talks about this and that, and if the country guy puts on the little stupid hat and he talks about his boots and his truck and his girl and his jeans, like there's just a formula that it's too basic for me. I can't.
And it's been done so many times.
Right. But what's crazy is they got away from. And hopefully if somebody's out there, put me on to somebody who tells a story like a Johnny Cash. You know, like he's going to the car plant and he's taking one piece at a time. He's going to build a 67, 50, you know, like, you know, Cadillac, whatever the hell he's making. Those are awesome songs.
Even some of Willie Nelson. Like I'm saying, some of that old Merle Haggard songs.
Oh, God.
And
who's the...
It exists. I mean, they're good tunes.
Who's Bocephus, but I think not the son, not Junior, but the father. Like, you know, hey, good looking. What you got cooking?
Yeah,
like,
the old country.
Oh my God! I don't know. Did you ever catch that movie that the guy that played Loki in the Avengers plays?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God! Catch that.
Really?
It's outstanding. It's awesome. So that actor, just look up, like IMDb him.
Yeah.
He's got a movie where he plays in the 50s. You know, what's the guy's name? What's the
Loki guy? Yeah, I don't
right.
remember.
No, not Loki. Bocephus. What's his real?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's.
I know the song. I got the song.
Right. But he's got a whole mess of songs that I was like, I did not know that was him. That was him.
Yeah.
But anyways, so like, there's awesome country music. And then they went to this stuff that's like so country. Poppy.
Yeah.
Right? And I just can't. Like I said, I don't want to be. You know, I'm turning people off by the. I know there's especially women and good-looking ones that really like country.
You got the hats on.
Yes, right. Oh, when we were young, so we used to, like, you know, we had a bar night for every night of the week, and we used to hang out at McDuffie's, which was on 111th Street, up like, you know, almost in Oak Lawn or whatever it was.
Okay.
And right near there was a country, like, had the bull in the middle and everything else, and like line dancing going on every time. And I don't know what happened, but we probably got kicked out of the McDuffie's the one night. So I'm like, let's just stop in here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, the jeans were so tight and everything else. Like the women, just the guy I was with.
It is weird. Yes. It's a weird mix. It's like
the guy I was with was like, I think next year I'm going to be a cowboy, and I go, you can't do that. Like that's not.
No, that's
either
against
a cowboy
the rules
or not, right? Because last year he's like, I think I might be a hippie. It's all because of girls. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's a lot of girls that dig hippies, dude. So, you know, I'm going to be a hippie.
Every year it changes. Yeah.
Right. But so like, you know, there's an attraction there as far as that goes, and for some reason, women. I would think that. I know more guys that detest new country than that like it.
Right.
And I know more women that just love it. Like they get so, like, their head wants to explode when I start talking about it. I'm like, all right. But, you know, it does sound good.
Right.
I just don't want to get trapped in that, like, superficial, like, silly world.
Oh, sure.
There's a band that they were playing in XRT, the something brothers. The
8-Bit Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nice try, XRT.
Right.
Some of that sounds like country for sure.
Yeah.
But it's off that high stepping song that they got.
God.
Oh, it's so good.
I think they used to do like heavy metal, hard rock.
So that's the.
So you can kind of tell they get a little of that from that. But
that's the Kenny Rogers. You know, he was that just checked in to see what condition my
I
condition
just
was
played that
in.
at a party the other day. I had to learn
Big
that.
Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
It's my goal to like do a show where we play all Big Lebowski songs. It'd be just great. That Hotel California was it Gypsy Kings or something like that? I tried. I can't do it. I don't know Spanish.
What is so there's people out there that have a real bias against the Eagles. Like the Big Lebowski's, he's like, not the Eagles.
Yeah, not the fucking Eagles.
Right. I like Joe Walsh Eagles is awesome. I'm not a big fan of the stuff afterwards, you know what I mean? And that's like, I got buddies that are huge fans of the Van Halen after David Lee Roth.
Oh,
and I'm a bigger fan before.
Sammy Hagar, okay.
Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the David Lee Roth time. But David Lee Roth as a person, he's hard to swallow.
He
man.
really
if
is.
you listen to him talk, it's like,
it's almost
shit.
like don't let him talk.
Right.
Just take the mic away from him between songs. It's just like, and they were going to do a reunion, and I guess he just nixed it.
Yeah, but I saw, which is probably one of the smartest things he's ever done, because his talent, it's gone. Like he
can't do what made him him.
No, right. I guess he's super healthy and all that stuff. He'll probably live to be very old, but his voice is totally gone.
Right.
He just doesn't have the chops anymore.
Right.
So, like, don't. Where I'm guessing, I don't know how long you can hold on to. Eric Clapton still plays a fucking hell of a guitar.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that Eddie Van Halen can still kill it on the guitar.
Yeah.
That's another one that I explain to my kids. I'm like, listen, when you get somebody that does something for the first time,
right,
it's like walking on the moon, man.
Sure.
That's a whole nother thing.
Sure.
Everybody else that does the same thing. So, like, there's downsides. I'm a big Elvis fan, too.
Yeah.
To Elvis, because he wasn't writing any music or anything like that.
No.
But he was a beautiful man singing. The voice is, like, from heaven.
He's a great entertainer. He can entertain
Great entertainer,
at the time.
all that stuff. But, like, he was doing something that he was stealing from black music and country music and making something. But that was something that wasn't done before. He didn't have somewhere that he could like just, I'll get that and I'll do this.
Sure. Buddy Holly's another one.
Buddy Holly's another one.
Sure.
When you hear something like Eddie Van Halen, nobody was doing that insane guitar thing before he was doing it.
No.
Like he revolutionized that situation. So like that's awesome stuff. Even Ray Charles has got some stuff that was really, really daring.
Right.
Was, at the time, I mean, now it's like sounds like old music.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, influence. Like I could talk music. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I'm not a musician. Like I said, took one summer of guitar, and I just couldn't sit still. I gotta have something to do all the time and everything else. And the guitar teacher was awesome, Mr. Keith Cohen from.
I remember him from Frankfurt Square.
Yeah, from Frankfurt
that was my
Square.
First lesson. It was a group lesson at Frankfurt Square School.
Yeah, right. So
oh
I mean,
my God.
He was terrific and everything else. His, so the crazy things that stick with you. I had to be 10, and I'm 48 now. So 38 years ago, I still know what his favorite band was. It was Genesis.
Genesis. He had that big Phil Collins poster in his music room.
Right.
Wasn't his band like the Great North or the North?
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember Mr. Kiko and the music teacher. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And he had the drum set. Remember, he had the drum set set up in there, and you could take the sticks and start pounding them.
Oh, he was. I don't know who was the music teacher before he showed up, but you could tell. So that's the conversations I like to have with people that are passionate about what they do.
Right.
And he was absolutely, like he was, Mr. Holland's opus. He was going to take this thing as far as the Indian Trail could take it.
Yeah.
He was going to go. So that's great stuff. If Mr. Keith Cohen's out there, look me up, man. I mean,
Yeah, I want to know what happened to him.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope nothing bad.
No, yeah, hopefully he's still playing music. That'd be great.
Right. So, okay, so we kind of veered off.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
As soon as we get talking about music stuff,
that's
I
good.
just go crazy. So now you've got an album that's coming out that is, now explain it, because I don't want to.
All right, so me and Andy continue to write songs together. And our original guitar player, who is actually back in the band again from Domestic Problems, he helps out quite a bit on this too. He helps write and perform, and we're doing like we don't want to call it a kids album because it's more of a family album.
Yeah, okay.
Like we do have some like educational songs in there. We got like a song called Antonym and Uncle Jim, so it's about antonyms, and then we got a song called like Parents' Pockets. It's all the shit you'll find in your pocket when you're a parent.
Yeah.
Like really gross, terrible things. And then we got a song called Cartoons Today, but we decided just to get together and just write. It's essentially writing about our experiences. Yeah. As parents and
are you a parent? You've got
I've got a 7 and a 9-year-old. So I'm in the prime of it right now. So it's just I'm in the wheelhouse. And he has some teenagers, and he had a baby. I think I'm gonna get in trouble if I get this wrong. He's got a kid that's 2 years old, maybe two or 3 years old. A bit of separation between.
Yeah, toddler, right?
Yeah, and so we were just having a great time. We just had a writing session a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Went up to Michigan, kind of locked ourselves in this house for a weekend, and we ended up just writing 12 songs out of just experiences and doing these things. And,
that's awesome.
And it's just a blast. And and the thing is, even if some of these songs don't do anything or go anywhere, it's just that experience.
Sure.
And what I've experienced with even Domestic Problems is that experience of coming together, feeling comfortable with who you're with, writing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
More times than not, it's going to show. It's going to come out. Like when you were saying, when you listen to these things in music, I feel like that attitude, that collaborative attitude, it shows.
Oh, sure. I think the best artists are people that are actually being them.
Right.
Like they're drawing from their own experience or something that's actually close to them or something like that.
Yeah.
But so what is to write a song that seems. It's obviously alien to me. I would never even sit down to write a song.
Right.
So you went up to Michigan. You locked yourself in a house.
Right.
How's that process? Do you just kind of bounce things off each other?
Yeah. Sometimes we'll bounce things off, and with a song, with an idea with a kid's album, you can almost just come up with a topic. Hey, let's talk about how kids don't want to go to bed.
Yeah. Right.
Let's talk about how they don't want to eat things.
Yeah.
And then we'll just kind of throw some chords around and whatever. Sometimes the chords, music might come first, and then the words next, or vice versa. And that's exactly what it was. One of the songs we came up with is I was listening to Hamilton. I was my daughter's really into Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this song that's called the Rap Battle #1, and it's basically, and it's cool. And I'm a history teacher, so I play some of this for my students.
Sure.
And it's awesome the amount of students who know this. And even as a teacher last year, I'd heard of it. I didn't see it or know the songs. And so I'm like, all right, I feel like I should probably, check into this.
Yeah, right.
And so I did, and I played some for my daughter, just loves it. She knows every word to every song.
Nice.
And so there's this rap battle, and it's Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton rapping back and forth about
because they were at odds end.
Right. And so I went to Andy. I was like, I got a kind of a cool idea about a rap battle with the alphabet. Like Q wants to kick, or K, the alphabet wants to kick out Q. Because Q's kind of useless. You don't need them, and you always have to have your friend U around in order to be relevant.
Sure. Make the same sound a little bit too. So
exactly right. And so sometimes it could just come from that. Like you hear something else, and you're like, let's do something like that.
Right.
So sometimes it's really sometimes it just lends itself to doing that, and I feel like that's why we scheduled that writing session. Like, hey, there's all these sort of ideas just sort of bouncing around. He lives in Michigan, I live here, so we have to kind of do that when we can. We just seize those opportunities whenever we can.
Everybody should seize those opportunities.
Right.
That sounds like life is just experiences. So there's nothing else you get to keep. One of the Koch brothers is hundreds of billions, whatever the hell he's worth. He died. He's worth exactly the same as the guy on the street, homeless guy who died.
Exactly.
You got nothing now, but all the experiences you had. Right. So that sounds like a very rich experience as far as wow, what an enjoyable time and everything else. You see bands, that end up hating each other, but I think that's over money and women and whatever like that. Right. Which but so what are you doing you've got this? What are you doing to promote it? Do you go out and sing these songs?
Yeah, so we'll try to do we'll do children's museums, and right now it's in Grand Rapids, and the next step that we've been talking about is actually going to schools. Our grand goal is to kind of put together a little lesson plans, go out to schools, and we kind of divide our songs up into 3 categories. One is educational, one is kind of life lessons, and one is love and kindness, and we want to kind of promote those in schools and talk about how to be mindful and being non-bullying and being respectful of other people. But then we got a song called Adjectives, so doing little breakaway groups and so we want to do this. The goal is to kind of go low cost to free to some of Chicago inner city schools go in and just so they can experience something that I'm guessing some of the budgets for some of these schools probably wouldn't allow. So we really want to get in there and do something like that. That's sort of the next step with this. And we do have some goals with this. to do good. That's, I mean, the main thing is we want to use this.
Well, I'll tell you what, it sounds to me like something that I absolutely loved when I was a kid. And I would not say I was the greatest student in the world, but the School of Rock stuff, or what is that? What was
I think it's School of Rock. Is it School? No, wait a minute. It's Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock, right? With the whole conjunction junction, what's your function, and
how a bill becomes a law, and the preamble song.
Right. That stuff was awesome. And I mean, I remember being like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, and not paying attention in English class to what a conjunction was. But then listening to that and being like, oh, I totally know what a conjunction is now.
Yeah.
It's and, or, right? It's all the things. So, like, that made more sense to me learning-wise than, all the school that could be.
Yeah.
It just didn't, I guess I was so wired, it just did not keep my attention the way that this did, sort of a thing. And I've always, I say weird, like, you're a teacher, so you probably hate this, but it seems to me that with YouTube and all the educational things out there, at some point, you almost wouldn't need schools anymore because you could get maybe more out of what's on there.
Sure.
I just
or take from what they're getting from YouTube and bring that into the classroom.
Right.
Because when I was teaching fifth grade there, I taught fifth grade. I taught a history class for U.S. I was the English teacher. So part of being an English teacher at this French international school is I would teach a little social studies, a little math, a little language arts and reading. Mm-hmm. And for history, I loved history. I always did.
So French international, does that mean that there's French kids?
They speak French most of the day.
Got it.
So when I would come in,
for
most, but they're mostly American kids. I mean, there are some French kids, but they're mostly American kids
that speak French most of the day.
Yeah,
so they have French parents,
French emergent, or they just have like French. Do you remember the band? Urge Overkill.
Yeah.
So his kid was in the school, and they're both American parents. They just want their kids to be submersed into another language and learn that way. And
yes.
And
it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's cool. But I would teach history, and I just brought my guitar in, and I do that preamble song from Schoolhouse Rock.
Right.
And it's funny because some of these fifth grade kids, I have them now in eighth grade. And so in my eighth grade social studies class, I have to teach social studies and I have to teach the U.S. Constitution. In eighth grade, you learn the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot that I had taught them this song.
Right.
I exposed them to this song when we were in fifth grade. And I was just like, okay, just so you guys know, there is extra credit on this test if you can actually write the preamble. And they all just started singing the song. And I was just like, if that doesn't kind of prove that point, like if you can somehow put it in a song, even like the stubborn kids from fifth grade, I was looking at a couple of them after they started singing. I'm like, oh my God, they know it. And I'm looking at a couple of kids I remember that didn't want to sing in fifth grade. They gave me the, I'm too cool to sing it, but they're like singing along with it too. I'm like, oh, that's
dude, I have not heard
cool.
Conjunction Junction in 35 years.
That's crazy.
And I still remember that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know who the artists were I think that somebody years ago, like I found it online. And like, you can buy it in CD or download. I'm guessing it's on iTunes too.
Yeah.
But the guy that was the conductor for singing, he had a hell of a voice, man. He was like a blues singer sort of dude.
Yeah.
It sounded great. And it was like, I think it hit all the nerves, right? You had like a visual cartoon you were looking at that was showing you what a conjunction was.
Yeah.
And you had the guy singing, and it was catchy and it was everything that would help you learn something. If they would have done, when I say they, like the education system in the country would have done something like that for every single thing.
Oh my God!
I got to be a smarter person for sure.
It'd be great, or at least use that to bridge certain topics. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to at least like establish curiosity to get to the next level. So maybe if it's not conceivable or even like reasonable to be able to do like a song and a video for every single concept, you get enough of them to where they start to become curious.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like if you can just build that.
Now, I don't know if that works for everyone because I'm positive that some of the people I argue with on Facebook have heard Conjunction Junction or how a bill gets to be a law, but they have no fucking clue. Like
that's willful ignorance. Yeah.
My problem with them is like as soon as your guy gets elected, you become a constitutional scholar and you were like a dum-dum in school. You couldn't pass anything, but you're like on just Facebook talking shit all day long. Like, hey, calm down, man. Calm down. Like I remember you from school. You were not that bright.
You thought there were only 2 amendments.
Yes, right. I get to say whatever the fuck I want to, and I can shoot shit up.
I can shoot you if you don't like it.
Right. Those are the 2 that I need. The rest of them go fuck themselves. Right. So, so those would be awesome ways to learn. Now, I heard it was after I was there that Mr. Roach at Summit Hill was like dressing up like King Tut and Abraham Lincoln and all that stuff. And there was a movie that was out like in the early 80s or late 70s that was a movie about schools, and one of the teachers, the guy Bert from Soap, was a teacher, and he was showing up. He was a con man. He wasn't actually a teacher, but he was showing up as Abe Lincoln and like Mark Twain and stuff like that. Oh my God,
that's great.
You know, like, and nowadays everything's at your fingertips. I mean, I just told this story the other day, but my son had an assignment where he had to learn, I had to hear something from the 80s. Like, how did you? And I'm like, music's totally different.
Right.
You guys can grab your phone and it's all there. Like, it's all right there, which is awesome because it's all there. I find it weird that you have this supercomputer in your pocket. There's all these things that you could learn, and people choose to listen to like just the most bullshit they want confirmation or affirmation by everything.
Right.
So whatever they believe, they're looking it up. Stop doing that and like start looking like, I don't know, to bigger things. Besides like the glancing thing, had no interest in astrophysicists when I was a kid.
Right.
But I love it now. It's like totally cool to hear that stuff. Me and my sons, then they're much better students than I was. I don't know if they're smarter though. Like they're smart kids.
Yeah.
But they're way better students. They're in like AP Math, AP Science and stuff. And we have these like super deep, like 3-hour conversations about space and like all this stuff. Like how
old are your kids again?
My boys are 18 now. They're seniors in high school. So
are they twins?
They're twins.
Oh, no way.
Twins,
cool.
yeah. And I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do when they're gone. We have like the best relationship. I mean, I really dig it. I like, as people, I like both of them.
That's cool.
And I hope that they like me, but I'm not their friend. Like, I'm not trying to be their friend.
Sure.
But we have these like long, big conversations about like whatever's on. We were lifting weights. We always have the TV on the gym. And we were watching that, there was Beyond the Curve, and it was a Flat Earth documentary that was on Netflix. And it was like so awesome. It was everything that I love about like science stuff, and it was everything that I loathe about people.
Oh my God.
These people were like, no matter what happened, they were like, oh, must be the equipment or something like that.
Oh my
this
God.
guy spent like thousands of dollars on this, like, it was this huge, like, it was like this like Maglite looking thing that was a laser.
Right.
And the idea was that you took this laser and you aimed it through one piece of plywood and you cut a hole in another piece of plywood the exact same height, and you shot the laser through the two of them that were distance apart, and then you went way out, and the laser should be raised like 15 degrees or something like that, at the certain distance. They did it, and they were not convinced that the Earth was round, that there was a curvature because everything was raised. They were convinced that something wrong with the laser.
Oh my God.
I know, right? So it was like they just wanted to hear, like it's that saying, they don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion out of your mouth.
Right.
Sort of thing. And that's it.
Yeah.
So, and it's terrible that the world is that way now, especially when we were kids. Like Encyclopedia Britannica was how you had to look everything up. It's Google's at your fingertips. And now the curveball they throw in there all the time is you don't know if it's true. Well, some things I do know it's true.
Right.
These aren't, I'm not bending reality now to make the Earth flat.
Well, I feel like and this is just my opinion, I feel like when I say some, I'm going to say a large percentage of these people are making that shit up. I feel like there's a certain percentage of them, they're just joining a group because they feel like they belong in this group.
Right.
And I don't know if necessarily I could be wrong. I don't know if they really believe it. I feel like they're getting some attention by saying this. Sure. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, they had on that documentary, check it out, because it's a train wreck. It's like one of those things that I'm like, eating a sandwich and I just can't stop looking at what's going on this TV because these people are crazy. But some of these people like get a YouTube channel and they get, 1 million followers.
Sure.
And then you can almost see them realize that they figured out that they're not right.
Right.
They can't stop.
You can't stop the train from rolling.
No, because they'll have all these. Right. It didn't kill my sound.
And sometimes too, it's sort of like that. Howard Stern effect. I feel like some people are following him just to see what the hell they're going to say, right or wrong.
Shit, I follow Donald Trump on Twitter.
Yeah.
I read almost every tweet, and I just it's for me it's awesome. I saw a Democrat candidate, Kamala Harris, and she was like a whole thing where she was talking about we've got to stop him from tweeting, and I'm like, have you lost your mind?
That's the only good thing about him,
right? That's the only thing, and. When he tweets, he's the best person on your side.
Right, exactly. Like, he's helping you out.
Right, completely. So don't stop him from doing that.
Yeah.
That's my guilty pleasure, I think, on social media is reading Donald Trump's misspelled.
Oh my God, it's just glorious.
No, it's awesome. It's the best.
I have a friend, I won't mention his name. I'm sure he doesn't want me to, but I have a friend who thinks, he thinks that Donald Trump's doing a lot of this on purpose. He said,
I'm almost in that camp sometimes.
Sometimes, because you read some of these, it's like there's just no way a sane human being with an administration, not just a person, not like just some guy,
right?
Like an administration, a group of people who are running this country or in the executive branch would allow, or this could be conceivable that this would actually be put out for public consumption.
Just the last thing where he's like, I had this conversation on the phone, and here's the transcript, and it says in there, the guy's like, hey, we're ready to buy some Javelin missizzles from you. He says,
what are you going to do for me?
He goes, verbatim, he says, I'm going to need a favor from you, though. And he released that.
He releases it.
Right, and then today, they've been saying that he really didn't say it like that or whatever, like there's some minutia to what's going on. He gets on the news today and goes, China, you should be looking into Joe Biden. Ukraine, you should. He just does the exact thing. So there are times where I'm like, so then again, I've known some people that were kind of shifty, criminally kind of people, and you'd be out drinking with them, and they would say stuff like, it's not a lie if I believe it.
Right, exactly.
So there's people that live on a whole nother plane of
sad.
Thought. Right?
And it's sad, and sad to see that. And there's a small part of me too sometimes, and I go back and forth when I listen to this guy and I look at this guy and he's not making a ton of money being a president.
I don't know if that's true.
Not
I think
yet.
he's killing it in his hotels.
No,
when they were all floundering before.
I feel like the reality show that's going to come out after he's the president is going to be the most watched. I mean, every country will drop what they're doing and say, I want to see this American president behind the scenes, because I'm sure he's got a camera crew following him everywhere.
Right.
Behind the scenes, and watch this moron. And he doesn't care. You call me a moron you want.
Yeah.
I'm a trillionaire after this is out.
Yes.
And so, is he just sabotaging his own campaign? Possibly. Just like, screw this. I want out. I want to make this show.
I had heard during the campaign, because I don't think he thought he was going to win.
No.
They launched an exploratory on running their own news network. Like, they were going to take over the whole. He would kill it as a guy that ran for president. So inside, the one thing that I'm really let down with that he's president is that there must be no aliens. Because if they told him there were aliens, he would just tell everyone.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
He would tell everyone in a heartbeat. He'd like, there's aliens.
Or he'd hold it over our heads. He'd mention it. Like, I could tell you the truth about aliens, but whatever.
Right.
That would be great. I never thought about that.
No,
that sucks.
So I'm bummed. I'm like, come on, man. There's got to be aliens.
There has to be.
Man, I don't know. Hopefully, we're not the smartest monkeys in the universe.
They're staying away from us for a reason.
Right. But yeah. No, they've seen what we do. So let's get back to the music situation. But I can veer off on anything.
Yeah, so can I. It's all right.
So like I said, I listened to what was on iTunes, and if I'm positive, I probably listened to each song on there 2 or 3 times.
Okay, good.
And sometimes I think music in general, some people fail in the music industry just because they can't get play.
Yeah.
Like, if someone listens, there are definitely songs that I listen to, and the first time I'm like, I kind of like it.
Sure.
By the 5th or 6th time they listen to, I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally awesome.
Yeah, it's like a Will Ferrell movie. It's like, watch it once or twice. Okay, sure, now I get it. Like Step Brothers. First time I saw it, But music's like that too, and I feel like, and it's funny when we play with bands. Sometimes we'll play with bands, and they'll send a CD ahead of time. I'll listen to a few songs. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I see them play. And I don't know if it's maybe it's a bias when you start to meet them a little bit. And I'm like, I'm going to listen to this all day long. I love this. So
right.
there's that, familiarity once you kind of like learn. Once
So
you
it
can sing a
grows
little
on
bit.
you or
Yeah.
something. There's some music that almost doesn't need that.
Yeah,
but then there's
absolutely.
other stuff that does. For me, it almost seems like I almost feel embarrassed saying it, but the James Brown stuff. When the very first time I listened to it, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Right.
I'm not that much into the funk.
Yeah.
But now, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel good. Oh my God! If you like, I think I could just like have that on me and play it. And if someone doesn't just move a little bit, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
Like,
because you can almost
like,
imagine him doing it.
Oh yeah,
like,
and if you've seen,
you kind of got to do that.
Yes, if you've seen the shit that guy does with his feet.
It's
when
crazy.
It's insane. It's
Even
awesome.
when he was like right before he died, he was doing that. I'm like, my God, this guy.
Right, hardest working man in showbiz.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think there's bands out there that just didn't get, or artists that just didn't.
Sure.
The break didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
you could just get something like, sometimes maybe it's timing or whatever. And the one that really freaks me out is when there's a song that's like knocks me off my socks and it's totally awesome, and they only have that one song.
Yeah.
The Spirit in the Sky guy. Only, one
right.
song, pretty much. That's it.
Right, and that
Awesome.
Donovan guy or whatever.
Oh, Donovan.
It's like, my gosh, it's like...
My God, Season of the Witch is like that is an awesome song.
Exactly.
I mean, especially for like Halloween. But the other one, Gautier. That freaking Somebody I Used to Know it hits me right with. There is an odd thing about dating somebody, being really, really intimately close with somebody, and then not dating them anymore, and they just turned into somebody you used to know.
Right.
Because the fucking at one time and then not fucking now.
Right.
You can't be together anymore. Like it doesn't work out.
It's weird now.
Right. Right. You've moved on to somebody else, and you can't be around each other.
Right.
I get it. But it's totally somebody that I used to know, and so like they somehow hit it on that one song, and then it's just great. I think music nowadays is also getting exponentially better.
Yeah.
I like that Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. Like, so terrific.
Right, yeah.
Like there's soul there. There's like another a Mumford & Sons, another conglomerate of.
Just a bunch of musicians together, and you can tell they're having a great time.
Yes, right. So
that translates. Yeah.
But I don't think I actually found that to be the case. Like there's some '80s music that I love, but there's also like a lull there somehow that was not like there wasn't the greatest music in the world.
Right. They kind of like found their in between their frequency. You know what I mean? Like it didn't go to it was like a safe zone. Like all '80s music was like a safe zone.
Yes. But like, and some stuff doesn't even. I guess I can hear some Duran Duran, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Which I probably would have been more into, like Echo and the Bunnymen and Depeche Mode and stuff like that in high school. But it still honestly doesn't feel as good to me as the AC/DC from high school.
Absolutely.
I don't know why, but it doesn't hold up as good or something.
Well, it's funny. My sister was a huge Duran Duran fan. And I'd listened to it a little bit, like I heard Rio and Seven and Dragon Tiger. And it's so funny because she laughs at me now because I like Duran Duran's new stuff. Like the stuff they put out in the last 10 years. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I listen to the old stuff.
I can't say I heard it.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Wow.
And it's all the same guys. They're like still doing it. It's pretty crazy.
What's the style?
It's sort of like a... It bounces around a little bit, but they pull a little of the 80s into it, but they sort of have a little of a funk vibe too. So
I mean, I don't know that much about that band because it was really a girls sort of band, like, back in the 80s, and it was not. I'm not listening to Wham all that.
Because they would have all the posters and the glam looking thing.
Right. And I mean, Motley Crue was pretty glam too. They looked like women also, but they were a little edgier.
Right.
I mean, the Motley. I'm gonna go back to the Duran Duran. I got a question, but. The Motley Crue stuff, like when they did that Helter Skelter and stuff, awesome.
That was
terrific
cool.
song.
That was really cool.
And I mean, like, I love the Beatles. I can listen to Beatles stuff.
Yeah.
I think that I couldn't imagine growing up, like, in the 50s or early 50s, and there's only just so much. And you got to find a transistor radio and find signal to listen to it and everything else.
And it's the same progression.
Yes, right.
It's literally the same. I can't imagine that.
Right.
I can't imagine.
Right. Well, I seen... what was the Foo Fighters, which awesome. Like, anything with a punk thing to me is like that's just incredible. But he was like going over like there's really only like a couple of riffs that are really like basic rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have that train riff and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like it's weird that I always had like really good rhythm. Like out of my friends, I could dance and all that stuff,
Right.
but I wasn't musical. Like I wasn't
Sure.
like interested in getting. I think it was girls. I could get girls, so I didn't need to get.
You don't need to play an instrument then. You're fine.
I was doing all right.
I'll just enjoy you playing music and trying harder.
right. If I was just a little uglier, I think I would have been all right. But the Duran Duran thing, and I'll have to like check into it. But I always liked punk bands were always bands that like honestly. It was like almost someone slapped an instrument in their hand and said, just go fucking nuts, man.
Right.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then by like, if they caught on or were playing like CBGB or something like that, and they started to like stick with it, you would see them get better at their instruments.
Right, yes.
So I'm hoping Duran Duran got better at.
Oh my God. Well, if you can kind of, and it's even with the early albums, if you focus in on that bass player, John Taylor, it's amazing what that guy does. It's sort of unbelievable. And
at my age now, I love the bass.
Yeah.
The Flea and the like all the like funk, that stuff is just awesome. Primus had some killer.
Oh my God, Les Claypool, that guy. Didn't he do a band with a guy from the Police, the drummer, and then the lead singer from Fish? Didn't they have like a band together?
I don't know.
The three of them.
See now that okay. So I guess
I wasn't into. I mean, I heard it. I was like, it's a little. It's way out. I couldn't get it. You know.
Now I have never been like the Dead and Fish
Right.
and what was the other one that a guy tried to put me on to that was just like one of those touring. I can't remember what it was. Oh God, it's like on the tip of my tongue. But Widespread Panic.
Oh God,
was the other one that the buddy of mine that gave me.
Yeah.
And like I think that music. I've never done acid, and I think it sounds better if you're on acid.
I think you're right.
And I've always like kind of been like, I don't know why. We were in like, I don't know, maybe like 1920 and age-wise, and a buddy of mine had acid. He's like, come on, dude. And I'm like, wait. How long does that last? And he's like, oh, it could be like 12, 16 hours. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I cannot make that kind of commitment to anything.
It's a big-time commitment.
Right. I mean, I remember being out drinking and be like, at like 2 a.m, I'm like off the fucking bed, would just stop spinning.
Right.
And you're telling me that tomorrow at 2, I'm still going to be fucked up.
It. Right.
Yeah, no, I can't. So I stayed away from it. I've done some mushrooms and stuff like that.
Sure.
I like that.
You can get pretty long on that too.
Oh yeah. Now I don't know. I think I'd like to do some more psychedelics because I think that there's a creative part of your brain that kind of like taps into sort of thing. I would almost think that would be helpful in the writing aspect or something like that where you could really get something out of it. Can I ask if you...
Yeah, so I will, I've smoked weed a lot of times writing.
Yeah.
I tried it one time performing. That was the biggest mistake.
Bad.
I mean, it was just a duet show. It was just me and my brother playing. And this is a true story. He likes to tell people that I meet for the first time this. We were playing a show at this little bar called Flanagan's in Grand Rapids, and it was just a cover. We were just playing cover songs.
Sure.
Two of us playing guitar, and I was playing. Behind Blue Eyes. We were playing Behind Blue Eyes.
Yeah, great song.
And so I'm singing, I'm singing the song, and then during that, that breakdown part, I'm playing it, and I guess like right in the middle of the song, I switched songs. I started playing something else. And he didn't know what I was doing. I was going into I don't remember what song it was. I think it was Rockin' in the Free World or something crazy.
Yeah.
And so I was going into some other song. He had no idea what. He put his guitar down, sat down in the audience, and just stared at me. Which, when you're high, you don't need that.
Besides that, like 2 minutes seems like an hour and a half.
It does, and then I kind of realized I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
And then I was just like, so he kind of bailed me out for the rest of the show, and I'm like, never doing that again, man. I can never. I could do that. It does help.
Sure.
Because it does lower because I feel like when you're writing a song, the biggest thing is, it's hard to sometimes get rid of ego. It's hard to get rid of ego and thinking that you're not good enough, or thinking that this sounds silly. And the thing is, when you're writing a song, just know it's going to sound silly, and it's totally fine. And everybody does it. Everybody goes through that, and it's fine.
Sure.
And if you do that, and if you're especially if you're writing with somebody or a group of people that you feel that trust with, it's way easier And if you have a little weed too,
Yeah, right.
But
things up, sure.
yeah, and so it kind of lowers all of that and just kind of lets things come out. And sure, 9 times out of 10, you read that song or read those lyrics the next day, you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But 1 time out of 10, you're like, oh my God, let's work on this.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
good. Yeah, a little inspiration.
It is.
Right.
I think there is something to be said about that. It definitely, in my opinion, has a place.
Now, I've never been like, I've never really like tried seeking out drugs or anything like that. But
Right.
I hear you were saying ego. That DMT is supposed to remove all. It's only like a 15 or 20 minute trip, I guess.
Right.
But it's supposed to like detach you from ego completely.
See, that's
like,
great.
Right. That'd be weird to like try and write something on that or something like that. Like,
Right.
It's weird. Like, I wonder what is inside of some people that they just have never explored it or like went to release it or let it go. Like, there's a lot of people that probably have music in them.
All right.
But they've never given it a shot or never tried, anything like
Yeah.
that. And the world is missing out. Like the Tom Petty thing, like I really felt like I was sad for the world. I was sad for me because
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I like everything. Like I used to jam that frickin' Wildflowers album.
That
So
album's
good,
awesome.
just so good. And like I had all his solo stuff, everything else, and I'm like, I know this guy probably had 20 more songs that were going to be like earth changing for me.
Easily.
As far, right. And it's gone. It's all gone.
It is. It's sad. I actually made an effort after he died. I'm like, I'm going to play some of these songs for my daughter because she appreciates music, and she did. And she got to the point where she's kind of singing along with him. She said, "So, Daddy, how did he die? What happened?"
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, and in my best way possible.
Sure.
Like, yeah. And so it was sad because I feel like, and I did that because I feel like, gosh, she just missed out. She missed out on seeing this guy or hearing him live or. He did. He had way more.
Prince was another one. And I was like, holy shit. Like, and Prince was one of those weird talents that, like, most people didn't know the incredible guitarist that guy was.
He was amazing.
Oh, my God. Like,
top 10 in the world, probably.
It's weird how stuff, it's weird how stuff circulates after a guy dies.
Yeah.
I might have maybe once seen it, but I didn't remember it. There was like a setup where he was playing with Tom Petty and some other people. And
I think I saw that. Yeah,
they were all like, holy shit, look at this guy go. And like, these are people in the business that had no idea he was this. It was While My Guitar Gently Weeps they were
That's
playing.
what it was. It was Harrison and Petty and him.
Yes, and he was like, they were all like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he was just lighting it up as far as like, I mean, it was Hendrix. It was just amazing.
He was, I did get to, I went with my wife to a concert. It was actually our first date. Our first date was going to see Prince.
Right.
And it was awesome. And it was, to me, it was great too because I liked Prince. I loved Prince. But his saxophone player was Maceo Parker, who played with James Brown.
Oh wow!
And he was, and that guy's a monster player. So we went to the bar beforehand, and we were a little drunk, So we went there, and I was just like on cloud nine. I'm like, oh my God, look at him! He's just ripping off solos, and he's playing with Maceo. I'm like, this is like the best night ever.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
That's something that'll never leave your brain.
Right,
it's like,
not at all.
I'll get Alzheimer's and still be like,
exactly
so awesome. So, do you ever see who's the guy who had I think he was part of the Simpsons and King of the Hill was his thing, and he does like a documentary thing on Stars. It's like Judd or Rudd or something like that.
Mike Judge. Yeah.
And he does a thing of Tales of the Tour. Oh my God, check that out.
Really?
It's Tales of the Tour. It's
kind of follows a tour.
It's sort of animated.
Yeah.
And they go into like all the country singers that we were talking about, like Johnny Cash and Bocephus, like those people are all fucking nuts.
Right.
Like they were all like shooting each other and like
the Wild West.
The Killer, Jerry Lee Lewis, like went to Graceland to shoot Elvis at one time.
Oh my God.
And like broke the gate down. Like was
Right.
going to go shoot him. And like all that's on there. So like Mike Judge, Tales from the Road, it's
I will check that out.
check
that
it out.
Sounds awesome.
It's awesome. But he did all those country singers. Then he did like a whole mess of like the funk. So he did like I'm Rick James, bitch. Like he did the whole Rick James thing and everything else. He did James Brown and like Prince was like right in those circles with all those people right there too.
Right.
Those things, those tales. Like it's a podcast, is what it is.
That's great.
Because he's just got people that were on tour with him sitting down and talking about the tour and everything else, and they've got inside information. He's got like he tracked down backup singers and stuff like that. And
they got dirt. Backup singers usually have dirt. Yeah.
And sad to say, a lot of these people, they're on hard times or whatever like that because they didn't
right.
The industry
is not out to help you.
Yeah, would chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
So I don't know that much about the industry except for the stories that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
How was your experience with it? Like you said, he had a manager and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it was. It's so our very first album was Scattered Pieces, and we had a song on there. It was called Untitled. It was like a 7-minute long song of our lead singer talking about his heart getting broken in college, and it was
that's the one I was in love or something. Yeah, right. Okay,
right.
Listen to that. Yeah.
So the original version on Scattered Piece, because the one on there is the produced, with the piano and symphony in the background, but the original was on Scattered Pieces, and it was like 7.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
But the local radio station there, it was very well listened to. They picked it. They just started, and it's just a talk show, but they would play it every day.
How'd you get that in?
They just liked it.
Oh wow!
They just like it. So there's that radio station does a thing called Radioactive. A good friend of ours, Mark Stanstead, would just take local music and make a compilation CD, and they try to do shows with all these bands from all over Michigan. And so they played it one day, and the one of the guys from that show really liked it, and so they started playing it all the time. All of a sudden, we're selling like 10, 15,000 albums.
Wow!
Which in the market is kind of crazy. So I'm working at this pool store in Michigan called Pools Plus, and I get a call, literally. So our lead singer was on vacation. Andy was on vacation. I get a call on the intercom. Says, Bill Kenny, you got a call from Nick Casanellis from Atlantic Records.
Oh.
I'm like, what? I thought it was a joke. So I pick up the phone. I think it was my buddy from here. All right,
motherfucker.
What are you doing? He goes, no, this is Nick Casanellis. And he was like so salesman-y too. It was kind of like, all right, Bill, tell me Tell me about Scattered Pieces. I want to hear about Scattered Pieces. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? It's like, my people are telling me you sold like 10, 15,000 albums, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, holy
that sounds
shit.
like money to them.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I got a guy that needs a water test over here. And so, we get back and they want to monitor, what we're doing and how we're doing. At this point, we had just released our second album. It's doing really well. And so they want to really monitor how we're doing.
Sure.
And he goes, so we had lost our guitar player off of tour because he wanted to kind of settle down, and we were playing 280 shows, and definitely. So we replaced our guitar player with a keyboard player. We went in the studio and recorded patiently. Our budget was $10,000 to record it. And at that time, that's
how does that
significant.
Go?
It's not bad, right?
Like a lot of money for guys working at pool shops.
Right, exactly. So we hired the producer from you might have heard of the band called Verve Pipe. They had a hit called Freshman, The Freshman, several years, a number one hit for a while.
Okay.
But they're from.
I probably do if I heard it.
If you heard it, yeah. But they were friends of ours, and so we borrowed their producer. He produced it for us, and we ended up being like $75,000 to make this thing. But we were all in, so we were like taking loans out, but we were playing full time, hoping to pay this off, and so we went all in. And I could be wrong. It was around that.
Yeah.
And
it's a far jump from 10.
A lot. Right. Yeah. And to the point, and I feel like some people, hear that when they hear this album, they compare it to the other two, and it's not as liked as much because I feel like it's more produced than it used to be. Yeah. And it's not a knock on the producer. I think the producer, he's phenomenal. It's just that some of our fans, what they're used to, is a little different. And so anyway, we put all this in, and we're shopping it to the labels, and they're like, nah, it's not what.
Too polished.
Yeah, it's too polished. Oh, kind of like that was the thing, and we're like, oh. And it was sort of heartbreaking because we knew, me and Andy knew, because our names were on the that our name is on the business with our manager, and we're like, we got to pay this back. So even after the band broke up, me and Andy are like pulling together shows and just paying. Wow. We paid it back like 10 years ago. You know, like,
better to take a shot and miss than to never take a shot.
It was absolutely, and you know what? What it did too is it really. Me and Andy were always really good friends. He was like the first guy I met at Aquinas. Like he was my first friend at Aquinas. So and what it did, it brought us together more. I feel like it gave us more, ammunition, experience, or whatever to create and continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah, right,
without this, would we still be doing what we're doing today? I don't know. So I feel like it was relevant.
Right.
The experience was relevant.
But
it was the industry. Yeah.
How does a producer, like I've heard stories like from the Tales on the Road, stuff like that producers a lot of times ruin shit. Like they're like, you gotta change that hi-hat or whatever. Like they're always got some advice that's not probably good advice. But.
Yeah, perfect example was this album. So we did something which called a scratch track, and it's basically we're all playing, but they have the drums mic'd up. So the goal is to basically record the drums.
Okay.
But we're all recording just to kind of have a scratch track so we can kind of go back over and record.
Yeah.
And I did there's a song on there called Patiently, and I did a flugelhorn solo during the scratch track.
Yeah.
And so they were like, okay, so you come in tomorrow and you're going to record your real solo, record your solo.
Yeah, do it again.
I'm like, okay. Because, I was using a crappy mic and not best, recording atmosphere. And so I go in, I'm recording literally over this solo. And this solo is not long. You listen to it, it's like 8 measures.
Yeah.
And 8 hours, 8-hour day.
Oh.
Do it like you did on the scratch track. Do it like you did on the scratch track. And then at the end of the day, they took the scratch track.
Yeah, right.
So it's and that's fine and that's cool, but they would be hitting a tom drum for like hours. I'm like,
trying to get the timing.
Right. Or the sound. They have like the little wrench on the drum trying to get that right sound. I'm like, this is crazy. Because the last albums we did, it was just sort of like, what do you guys want to do? All right, go in there.
Yes.
Guess what? I want to sing on it. It'd be kind of fun. Put one mic in the room. And I feel like that's what we're sort of getting back to. And that's what we got back to for this and this. Is sort of like, let's just put a mic in there and just let it be laid back. There's a couple songs on there we just recorded live, one take. And if there's mistakes, there's mistakes. I
think for the most part, mistakes, people the general ears not picking up any of that anyway.
Right, and those who do, I feel the ears that do, I feel like there's almost an appreciation for it. Like, oh, that must be real.
Sure,
it's not overdubbed or tracked, because this day and age, it's so easy to do that. And it's almost like if you're doing it like that, oh, this must, it lends a little legitimacy to the actual music itself.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I would go back to the last podcast I did was with a makeup artist, and we were talking about all the filters that women use on, Snapchat and everything else. That's the same sort of thing. You're just polishing it too much. Right. I would rather see a woman that had some flaws than not anyway. Right. So it's like it's real. Besides that, in my experience, women that are perfect looking aren't very good in bed anyway. They don't have to try really hard.
There's a reason they look so perfect.
Yeah, a couple freckles, baby, and we're going to be in business. Anyways, so no, that's great. I wouldn't know anything about it. I've heard. I'm a sucker for Netflix documentaries that like Tom Petty had one that they went into all and the music that guy had, and the guy that was producing him was producing Stevie Nicks and Bruce Springsteen and stuff like that. So it was just this all this terrific stuff. I can't remember his name, was bald guy, but so and they're great documentaries, but they talked about 20 hours in the studio. They're just trying to grind this thing out and everything else. I don't know. I would think that if you're a writer, that things just would come to you at the oddest times.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you got to oh shit, I got to write that down. That's got to be right now.
Oh yeah.
Where if you're under a forced situation, it might turn out to be shit.
Oh yeah, and there's a Verve Pipe. They have an interview where they talk about, so their first album was Villains, and it was really successful. They're on MTV, all that stuff, and then they did their second one. And Brian Vander Ark does this interview. It's really good. He kind of talks about that. And he goes, we felt like we just go into the studio and write an album, and he goes, no, that kind of takes like you said, it just comes at different times. You just got to let that happen.
Well, did you see the Queen movie?
Yeah,
it's outstanding. I'm always torn on those movies though, because they said Sacha Baron Cohen was originally the person that they had.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he wanted to go, he was going to be one of the producers, and he wanted to go in a direction with Freddie Mercury that was fucking insane. Butt plugs and just over the top. Because Freddie Mercury was kind of over the top gay.
Right.
So like, and that's where he wanted to go with it, but they decided to cut ties. And I think that they had it like in motion, but they changed gears and the Malick guy was terrific.
It was great, but they wanted it mainstream. They wanted a mainstream audience. Yeah.
But if you watch that movie, like every time they went to the studio, it was like, these awesome fucking songs just poured out of the people.
Right.
I mean, and it was spectacular to see that process. Like the bass player's like, bum, 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 and then they're like, oh yeah, that's something. They just like,
and all of a sudden they got a hit. Yeah, that's great.
And I don't know if that's realistic or not, but they were doing the thing where they were like locking themselves up in the country in some, and I've heard all kinds of bands. What was this? What's the Alabama? Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner, yeah.
And they used to they had a shack next to a river, and they would lock themselves in that. There was a documentary that was on Showtime or HBO or something, and it was awesome. Just the way that they came up with those songs.
Yeah.
And then to hear, for me, it adds to the music to hear something about the people.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So like you heard Alabama, if you just listened to the music and looked at it from the outside, I think you would have a completely different view of who those people were.
Right.
To when you actually watch that documentary. I'm positive that there's guys that have rebel flags that hate Alabama if they really watch that documentary.
Sure.
Because that rebel flag didn't mean what they had it. The same thing.
They had like a song called like 45 Special or something like that. That was like gun control.
Anti-gun.
Anti-gun.
But if you're a dope and you're just glossing over it and listening to you're not hearing the music, you're listening to it, you're not going to get that.
And if they did it on purpose, that's even more genius.
Yes,
good for them.
No, it was awesome. Just totally awesome. But so I was, my boys wrestle, and wrestling's a sport that I personally believe it's the greatest sport on the planet.
Yeah.
But no one likes it. Like it means, it's not like it means nothing in high school. You can get a kid that makes it to the state finals and no one knows his name. But if your team makes it to the playoffs, the whole school's losing their mind in football.
Right.
Which
I think, I agree with you. I think wrestling takes way more talent.
Oh my God.
Just in my opinion.
The wrestlers are the special forces of the school.
Oh, sure.
These guys are crazy. The top kids are dedicated. It's a lifestyle. It's not like I can just go to practice and goof off with my friends.
Sure.
My boys don't go out. They don't do shit except for so they wrestle Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You got to make weight every day.
Wow.
So Saturday night they're out, doing whatever they do, getting fast food. It's real lame.
Sure.
But they're having fun.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's no fun. The rest of the week, it's like I'm trying to lose 10 pounds this week to wrestle on Thursday.
Dang.
Right. It's tough. But if people would pay attention to, and I always said that sport should have a thing, especially the college level, where they do more interviews with the person themselves.
Right.
If you heard some of the stories, you'd be more involved or more apt to pay attention to the sport.
Yeah.
The music thing is the same way. If they just had a little bit more background to the guy, and I mean, I hope somebody seeks out your stuff because I put a post on Facebook saying, hey, I'm looking for some music for my podcast.
Yeah.
Because I was finding stuff on SoundCloud, and it's all kind of shit.
Yeah.
And anything that sounded really good had copyright stuff on it. They wouldn't let me take it anyway.
Sure.
And I don't think my podcast is going anywhere, but I don't want to steal something from somebody either. So I put that out there, and there was 5 or 6 people that said, hey, here's this. You can take whatever you want and everything else. And I was literally very surprised to go on there and be like, I kind of like this stuff.
That's cool.
I kind of like this. I kind of like Steve, the stuff that he gave me. I already put some stuff from Steve Beard on a couple podcasts too. I thought they were great. It really was more like I just had to listen to it a couple times, and I'm like, I dig this. This is cool. And the 3 that I just talked about are completely different. I mean,
cool.
I would equate Steve's stuff to, and I don't want to say it it might piss somebody off, but to like Fish or something like that. There's some real groovy stuff going on there. And then your stuff, like I said, BNL and Dave Matthews, and you said Blues Traveler, which I totally agree. That sounds awesome there. And then, Steve's stuff is more of a punk edge, custom stuff like that. So it's all different, but it was all still good if you gave it a chance.
Sure.
So I always feel like these guys that have the bands, it's almost like acting. If you just could get that break.
Right.
If you could just get that spot, you know what I mean?
Right.
And if you love it, I hope that you're doing it for a long time. My cousin, who I love the guy, he's great. Pat Kelly, he sings in burger joints and pizza places and all that stuff, and he's just having a good time.
If you really love it, it doesn't matter where.
I think he's a special ed teacher.
Sure.
For a living, and then he does this on the weekends. And I've been out 4 or 5 times to catch him singing in places.
That's cool.
It's fun. It's really nice to have something in your life like that. I don't know. I think so many people get caught up on, I got to make money, I got to make money, I got to make money. And you don't do something that you actually like to do. I look at my sons all the time like, hey, boys, I'm positive you'll make money.
Yeah.
But find something that you enjoy. And my thing to them was always like, listen, success is not making $1 million. Success is the day that you're at your job and the shit hits the fan and they go, oh, shit, go get that guy. You're successful.
Exactly.
Because you're the guy. You're the guy. Right. So, I mean, and the music thing is a thing that, like, I think, I don't have any time in the day for it, but, like, it's one of the things I regret with my sons, that they didn't play an instrument.
Right.
There was a wrestler who's top wrestler on the stage. Kid was awesome. He has, like, a 4-point, like, something, like over 4.0 grade point average. Like, insane. And he plays the violin.
So cool.
The word on the street, and I don't know if it didn't verify it, was that he got 120% full ride, like full plus 20% more to go to Michigan.
No way.
Yes, like D1 school. I mean, if someone's out there, they know who I'm talking about, and I won't name him because he's a young man. He's always a good young man. And everything else. Dad's a real good guy.
Oh, that's great.
But and it's a competitive sport, so obviously my sons were like, oh, the guy, I don't like him. But I saw the guy. He was an honorable young man. And everything else. But amazing that you could have the time and the talent.
Yeah, that's the thing. The time. How did you do that?
I don't know. I had my boys, and I'm like, hey, how much time are you guys spending on screen time? Like, how much are you looking at your phone? And because it's too much. Like, I see them, and it's too much for me too. Like, I need to, and I'd like check my phone, and I think I went through my apps, and I was somewhere around like an hour and 45 minutes, which I was surprised. Actually, I was like surprised that it wasn't 3 hours.
I was gonna say that's not bad.
Not bad. And I'm like, all right, I still feel like it's too much. I want to get it down to an hour and 15 minutes.
Right.
So I'm going to download an app and get it down to that. My boys checked theirs, and it was like 3 hours and 40 minutes. And they're like 2.5 hours or 3 hours of that is Mario Kart. Like, they're playing a video game.
No way.
And I know they're probably driving somewhere. They're sitting somewhere. Like, it's not. But I'm like, I said to them, I go, hey, man, there's something you could be doing that's way more productive than spending 3 hours a day playing Mario Kart.
Right.
I don't know where they find 3 hours playing Mario Kart. My one son's schedule was get up, go to school, leave school, go to jiu-jitsu practice. Or no, he went to open mat at Lincoln Way.
Yeah.
Then he went to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Then on the way home, he stopped at Reclaim Fitness and then worked out for like an hour and a half after that, like until like 10 o'clock.
Where does he get the time?
No,
What's he doing?
I don't know.
While he's doing leg presses?
I don't know where the 3 hours came.
I'm efficiently playing Mario Kart. Well, I'll get my, talking about, take it. It is a short life. Enjoy what you're doing, because the way I look at it is you make money in order to use it to do something you enjoy.
Yes.
So it's like one thing I give my wife a lot of credit. She's really helped calm my mind down. She got like really into meditation and mindfulness, and she kind of turned me on to that just to kind of.
I want to meditate. My brain moves so fast, man. I've tried to meditate a couple times.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't zone everything out. I can't.
It's hard. It takes practice, and for me, it was the same thing. I'm just like, I can't just. And for the longest time, I wouldn't. I'm like, I'm thinking about this. Oh crap, I got to write this down. And so it took a while, but once you got into it a little bit, and but I give her a lot of credit because she stuck to it, and she helped me do that. And now,
did you find that it was helpful?
Yeah. As far as now I feel like even with the music, I'm really, because before I think I took it for granted pretty much. Oh, this is cool. Oh, we're gonna go play a show, and just a few months ago we played a show in Detroit, and it was a sold out show. It's a great show.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, my initial thought was like, oh, it's so far. It's gonna be a late night.
Right. Hey, do me a favor and open that.
Right.
Guinness for me.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
And so I'm thinking, okay, I need to really sit now. Recently now I'm more like, I need to really sit and appreciate what this. Many people would probably love to be able to do this, and I feel like more and more I'm appreciating that. I'm appreciating like what I have right now, what I can do now. And then, one of the things we try to tell our kids is try to figure out what your gift is to the world.
Yeah.
Because that's what you truly enjoy. What's your gift to the world? And you're going to not just make yourself happy, you're going to make so many other people happy.
Right.
And, and of course their kids are like, I don't know, whatever. But, that at least the message is there, like getting the message out. Because I feel like now more so, and also our lead singer, it's so funny because the lead singer, Andy, of our band, and my wife, Michelle, it's not that they didn't like each other. It just, they just didn't see each other a lot. No, a lot of communication.
Was it a Yoko Ono situation?
No, not at all. But it was so funny because they were both kind of doing this, getting into this meditation, this mindfulness, sort of at the same time. And I'm like, you guys got to talk,
Right.
And I was, when we were actually recording that I think it was the Jim Dandy album, I was going through a little bit of a hard time. And it was before I was really getting into the, living in today. I wasn't. I was living in the past. And I was living in the future. I wasn't living in today, and that's the worst place to not be. And I remember during the recording, I broke down a little bit to Andy. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like what's going on? And Andy started just like saying all these things that he's doing. I'm like, oh my god, my wife's doing that too. And it was almost like a sign, like maybe I should fucking listen to this shit.
Yeah, maybe meditation could quell a midlife crisis right now.
They seem so fine. I'm like in a shit sandwich and I'm the shit.
Right. No, I'd say like I'd be jealous of somebody like you because the music thing, like I've been to the Beer Stube in Frankfurt and there will be literally a 70-year-old man playing the accordion and he's just having a good time playing. Yeah. I mean, he's never in his mind thinking this is going to be super popular and like I'm going to sell like an album or something. Right. But he's still playing an instrument. I have a friend of mine, Carl Fioca Sr., who I know he plays an instrument. I only got so much bandwidth. It's been a long time since I really talked to him. Right. But he's still playing, and I would think he's got to be close to 70. I mean, really? His son is my age. Yeah. So, I mean, what you call it, they've got that forever. Like, and I don't know if his son plays anything at all, but like, his dad can be in his 70s and still enjoy going out and playing some music and stuff like that. So, like, I want to say, like, the friend we were, Joyanne, I think she still plays a horn or a flute. Or I don't know.
She's a really good flute player.
Yeah, right. So, like, that's something that you can always have to enjoy, and you don't need an audience. No. You can just go play it and everything else. So, no, that's a skill that I think it's being lost a lot, and I think that some of the SoundCloud stuff is enabling people to lose that as far as that goes, because you just grab that music and an artist did it already. Yeah. So that, to me, that's, I don't know, it's terrible.
It's not as creative. I feel like if you're creative, when you get that opportunity to just create anything, like you're creating this, like this is a cool creation. Like
it's fun. It's just right.
It is, and it's useful. It's helping others. I feel like because they're like when I was watching the one that you did with Jackie, I was like listening to that for a while. I was just like, man, what other. How cool that we live in this time, like where this could be, this could happen. Like you said with the podcast, you would never astrophysics, like what in the world? I would never have thought that. And, and I'm like looking at these things and you sort of become connected in a different way that you've never been connected before. And it's being able to create something. And I feel like if you can create something, it doesn't matter. It could be a picture, it could be a show, it could be music, it could be anything. I feel like it really helps.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how long this will go. I mean, this is episode 26, and I've only been doing it for like 7 months or something like that.
That's insane.
And I had over 8,000 minutes of viewing on YouTube, and it's on all kinds of other platforms too. Right. So like it's getting looked at. I really appreciate everyone doing that. I hope they subscribe to the YouTube channel. But like, and for me, I kind of found out that I really enjoyed, like, if I go out for like some day drinking, like I enjoy having conversations. I don't need there to be like the people that waste their life away looking at TV for hours on end. Right. I'm like, oh my God, you're missing the whole thing. Like, time is going by so fast, and you're just watching CSI or whatever you're doing. Like, and like you gotta just like you gotta live life. You gotta have something, and I left some situations where I just had like a girl over and we opened up a bottle of wine or two, and the talking that went on for the 3 hours before that, I felt awesome about the
Yeah.
conversations that we had
Right.
and everything else. Like I'm like, it was almost euphoric in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the wine.
Right.
So like I'm like, yeah, this is something that's cool. And then when I started listening to the podcast, I'm like, I gotta like look into what it costs to get everything to do a podcast. I see what it takes to get it, out there to everybody. I'm a real estate broker, so like it, I'm on the computer constantly.
Sure.
But it has been it's been a blast. There is not one podcast that I had. There was a couple that I was having, and I was like, whew, how am I going to fill an hour worth of this? I mean, there's a really good guy that Tim that was on the podcast, and he was doing trains. And I know a lot of people that work for the railroad and everything else. And I mean, trains are neat.
So he worked for the real.
He worked for the railroad. I think his dad and his grandfather worked for the railroad.
Oh,
and
wow.
like his hobby is the railroad. He like took a vacation to Europe and rode a bunch of railroads.
Oh my God.
And honestly, podcast was super interesting. Like
Yeah.
there's a plug for Tim's podcast. I think people gloss over it. But if you had the time and you could listen to it, like you learned a lot
check that one
about
out.
right. I mean, it's not the most controversial, like the gun one, or like I think the most help I could do was the opioid one, just because of the numbers of people that are.
That was just the one before the last one?
It was like it was
Couple
like
ago.
22 or something
Okay,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
23, but that one was like I really wanted as much, and I told that guy,
Yeah.
hey man, if anything changes or anything's going on, you make sure you come back, because
Sure.
I got a bunch of messages after that one saying
I saw that, yeah.
my family this, like private ones that were
Right.
like, and I didn't realize how many people were jacked up.
Sure.
So like it's been good to have, if there's any service that I can provide, that's terrific, but I could do this till I'm 70.
Yeah.
Like, I could be 70 years old and still
Right.
just having these conversations, as long as I'm not some crotchety, get off my lawn kind of guy. So it's been enjoyable. I dig it. And with the band stuff, by all means, if
Yeah.
something comes up with you guys and you're
Yeah.
come back on, bring
I'd love
Andy
to.
with you, and let's.
I think Andy would love to come on. You got to talk
we've
to
only
this guy.
done
You'd love
one
him.
where we had we slid the table away from the tank
Sure.
and the Frankfurt Spirits guy. We had a guy there,
Yeah.
but it worked out fine.
Yeah.
We had a good conversation and everything else. But bring him back for sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what is going on next? What's where you playing? What's happening?
Yeah, we got some shows in the works. I think I'm always like the last to really confirm shows. It's only out of laziness, not because I have a busy schedule. But I think we're doing something at St. Andrews in Detroit with Verpipe, I think.
Okay.
So we have that. We're trying to put together a Chicago show.
It's always good to have those connections,
I
man, with like
know.
Verve Pipe.
Yeah.
The Foo Fighters did that documentary where they wrote a song in every city that they. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
saw that, but it was on Stars or something, and
Yeah.
they their connections with Naked Ray Gun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Naked Ray Gun opened up for Foo Fighters, which that's not a comparable.
No.
That's not an opening band for Foo Fighters.
Right.
But super cool that the Roots thing, they
Yeah.
they gave them that opportunity.
Oh, you
So-
take what you can get. Like when you're going to
Absolutely.
open, I know Verpipe, that when they had gotten signed, their tour in Europe was opening up for Kiss. So, they don't sound anything like Kiss.
No.
And I think they might have had a hard time on a couple of the shows because, those fans aren't necessarily going to be
No, and I mean, I like Kiss to a point. I had a
to a
Kiss.
point. I don't know if
Kiss
a whole
Lunchbox.
concert might be hard. Might
Right.
be hard, a whole concert. But yeah.
That's another one, though, that I saw a documentary with those guys. And
Yeah,
they're
that'd
all
probably
like-
be a cool documentary.
The documentary was cool because they were like, they kind of made their bones on a gimmick.
Right?
And they were just a bunch of
And they-
Jewish guys who
Yeah.
couldn't get laid. And they're like, what are we going to do? And we've got to do something.
Problem solved.
Right.
Mark the box.
Yep, right. They put the makeup on, and if you listen to Kiss music, and I'm sure someone out there loves Kiss, and there's people out there that love music that just sounds the same.
Right.
But Kiss music really sounds the same.
Right,
There's
right.
it's like hard guitar that comes in, and it's a big chorus. you know,
Right.
Like a love
big
God.
chorus and easy chords because I feel like they weren't the best at their instruments. I've heard. No, okay.
No, right. I'm pretty sure. And I mean, if you've got to, what's the story with Gene Simmons that he had like the ligament under his tongue
Oh, right.
detached,
Yeah.
so it would be longer. And if you need to wear like 9-inch platform shoes
And get surgery
breathe
for that.
fire,
Yeah.
then maybe you're not that great at an instrument.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the rumors that spread around that Gene Simmons was a genius of some sort, like a not a musical genius, that he was
like a scholar.
Yeah, like a scholar.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you'd listen to him talk like, no, he's
I
not.
think I remember that. Yeah, I remember that going around.
Like, that was a gimmick too. Like,
Yeah.
no, he's not. No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I can't imagine taking our group, and open up for them. That'd be a little
right. So how many people in the group altogether when you guys?
Six total, and we've had right now we have. So me and Andy started the band, and then Ned, as our guitar player, was original, and our saxophone player Job was pretty soon after that. I was in jazz band in Aquinas with him. So, but we had 2 horn players originally when I was playing guitar.
Yeah.
And
I love the horns.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it was fun. We were just doing house parties, at Aquinas back then.
Right.
We got our first show, and Andy's the kind of guy. I'm gonna make sure he comes back. You got to meet him. He's just so he's like this welcoming. You just feel good. You feel good around this guy. Just his general presence is just really something.
Right.
And when I listen to some of the first recordings of our live shows, it is just dreadful.
That sounds like a really good quality though for a lead singer. That sounds like something that would be.
Yeah, that's what did it. That's what got people. So even our very first show, so many people at Aquinas just liked him. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't leave the show saying, "Man, they were so tight and they were so good." And they were just saying, "No, yeah." They leave with a smile. They just had a good time. They just felt good.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's that we kind of coasted on that for a while.
Sure.
Until we're like, all right, we should start taking this a little more. We should take it a little seriously.
Yeah.
Actually practice and put stuff together. And we were able to do that, and we did. That radio station gave us a great opportunity shot.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And we got to play all over the country, just because of this, and we for some reason we still get to play sold out shows, and we do it 5 times, 4, 5, 6 times a year, and that's like going back. Those are the things I'm thankful for. Like that's so rare. It's
right.
And who knows how long it'll last. So just live in that moment and be like, man, I can't believe it. I'm so thankful. Like I make a point every show after we're done playing, just go out and thank and meet and talk to as many people as possible because, and they're so excited, and I'm just like, why are you so excited? I'm just a teacher in Chicago, but to them it's something different.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that they're getting enjoyment out of me just coming out and hanging out and talking to them. And it's like, this is fun. Like this is great.
Right. Now, how often you got a band like this? But we're all in our 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And you said your one guy lives in Michigan. Mm-hmm. How often do you get together to rehearse?
We don't.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
We don't.
So do you rehearse your own stuff on your
Yeah,
practice?
so we've really utilized. We do some new stuff now and again, but we really utilize live streaming and things like that to kind of play, send people, send each other some stuff. Actually, our saxophone player, he's a principal out in Baltimore. So, we fly him in for shows when we do them. We try to do a couple at a time to, maximize it.
Boy, Baltimore, Michigan, and then...
Yeah. And
how is that? So I have a buddy that, Jerry, that's got a podcast. And Jerry Ponson has a podcast. He was on the podcast. He's a postman. But he's got a podcast coming up that's going to be it's interesting. It's going to be all analytics on the White Sox baseball stuff.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah.
Right. So I'm stoked to listen to that. But... his podcast, it's produced real well. His So Cool podcast is it's very polished, it's very edited, very good. And he's kind of in the position where he's like, I don't give a shit what happens with it. I don't think it's ever going to be anything. There's too many comedy people out there for that.
Right.
So he he puts on Van Halen songs and stuff like that.
Cool.
He's like,
better to ask for forgiveness.
Yes, yeah. Right. So he does all that, and that's fine. But I did not realize till he was here that they're not the other guys in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're not even together. I don't know how, I don't know how any of that works, but he has, I guess, the ability to Skype it or whatever's going on. So how do you guys? What's the process? I mean,
it's not live. I mean, I'll send something and then they'll practice it and then we'll kind of throw it together. And then if we do a show, especially if it's a bigger show, we'll make sure we get in town a day early or whatever, and just or during our sound check, we'll make sure our sound check's really long and run through things to kind of. But a lot of the songs we've been doing, for 25 years. So,
Oh, that's right. That's old hat.
Yeah, right. And then we'll mess around with it on stage a little bit. We'll do quite a bit of ad lib on stage, but yeah.
Now, okay, so my boys are going to go off to college, and we spend a shitload of time together. And I told him the other day, I'm like, I'm gonna have to get you guys like Facebook portals,
Sure, right.
Because like I don't know how I'm gonna do with like 3
Right.
4 months not seeing you, something like that. And so like I would think that sort of technology would get better and better
Yeah.
as to you could really connect with somebody.
Right.
The audio is probably tough though.
The audio's tough. We did try to do like a Jim Dandy song live Facebook, and
Yeah.
and there is a split screen Facebook thing that we try to do. We were pulling it off. Some of the fans were like, yeah, it's a little echoey, like a little lag.
Sure,
one of the
sure.
instruments is lagged a little bit, so it's got to be close. I would imagine.
Right.
You know.
Well, anybody that comes on the podcast, and then also that I dig the music anyway, I'll for sure like be looking for you.
Yeah.
The Facebook thing is strange because
Right.
like the algorithm has you only seeing the people that you interact with. So there's the objective of Facebook is to keep you on Facebook.
Right.
So if you don't interact with somebody, they kind of like discard it, which sucks.
Right.
Because like I got like almost 1,400 connections on there, and I see like
Yeah.
a dozen people on there, and that's it.
Right.
But now that we've interacted, I'm sure I'll see more.
Oh, right.
The makeup artist, like I used to see her stuff every once in a while, and I didn't see a lot of it. And when I was going back through her stuff, I'm like, how did I miss this?
Sure. Right.
It's like freaking awesome. Like, and she is another art thing where she's just creating.
Yeah.
Leo, the jiu-jitsu guy that I had on too, like,
Yeah.
he's a guy, there's an art to what he's doing as far as the wrestling and the fighting and the
Sure.
jiu-jitsu. But there's also the thing where it's like a thing that he loves to do and he gets to do it for a living.
Right.
So it's spectacular. I hope that he's a little ways away up at Homer Glen,
Yeah.
or Homer Township or whatever it is. But he, like if someone's out that way, for sure check out Leo.
Yeah.
But like I didn't. My boys went to him when he was little. I interacted with him then. He was on the Facebook thing all the time. Then I stopped. Then I like, oh wait, I should look up Leo for a podcast.
Yeah.
Got on the podcast, interacted with him, and now I see everything from him on there.
Yeah.
So like if now I'm hoping that, like I said, if I see something, I'll be for sure sharing it.
Yeah.
Because hopefully, I know probably your hope is still that someday it would
Yeah.
take off.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
That would be big.
there's no time limit on it. Like as long as it's feels good for us to do it. And
Sure.
But yeah, we talk about it all the time. Andy says all the time, we haven't hit our prime yet. We haven't hit,
Right,
we
right.
have not hit our stride yet. Like
No.
we're still.
And I mean, trying to think of like what I'm trying to think of somebody that like all of a sudden like hit it. There's all these poster things that they put up in the wrestling room and stuff, and it's the guy
Right.
that's like digging,
Yeah.
and there's a separate tunnel. The guy's digging, he quit,
Right.
and then the guy was just right there,
And
you
it's
know,
right across,
just right
yeah.
there, right,
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, there are some guys that been in the
Right.
music business forever, and then they hit it.
They don't hit it until a while, but and the thing is, we enjoy the process. So even if it doesn't happen, which I think it will, the process is just gold.
Yeah,
it is.
honestly,
It's
and
gold.
I think yours is better than others. Like I know a guy that owns a bait and tackle shop, and I'm sure he does fine.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he had some thoughts of it going even bigger than it did, sort of thing.
Right.
And he enjoys it, so it's great for him to be there. But the music thing is like there's way more feeling
Yeah.
to the music and everything
Right.
else. So,
Right.
Kudos, man. I hope that you keep it going.
Thanks.
Anything else that you want to talk about? I mean, I
I
could sit there and talk about music,
Yeah.
just music stuff forever and ever. So
Sure.
we can keep doing that. But I mean, I would like to see more go on with with your music as far as it
Sure,
goes.
sure.
And I don't know, somebody take a look. I know I get people watching the podcast.
Yeah.
Take a listen to stuff that's on iTunes, and then tell me what you think. Maybe
Right.
sort of a thing. Because I'm sure you'd like to hear about it.
Yeah. We'd
like-
love to get that. Yeah, any kind of feedback. It's great.
Right?
It's interesting.
Right. The reason I do the podcast is for, you need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube to make any money.
Right.
I got like 86 or 87 of them or something like that.
It's not bad for 7 months though.
No, it's fine and everything
Yeah.
else. But it's enjoyable as far as that goes because I know that someone's listening and I can see the analytics where I can see
Sure.
the minutes.
Sure.
So that's great. I don't care about anything else. There's no pressure on me.
Right.
And I think you're living that same kind of way
Yeah.
right now where it's like no pressure.
Right.
So whatever.
No. Doing something that, the fact that people come out to watch us play is unbelievable. I
Right.
mean, we can play in front of nobody.
Right.
It's fine. But the people that come out, I'll be up on stage and have moments many times. I'm just like, I can't believe people are coming out here to watch us play. This is so cool.
Right.
Like, how cool is that? Like, I could die right now. This is
Yeah.
great. But I don't want to. But,
No.
but it's really cool. I think one thing I thought it'd be kind of funny. I was going through a chest of stuff in our house. You know, I used to keep all like, you know, newspaper clippings and VHS, and I found something that was just hilarious. And I was doing this the other day when I was like looking for CDs and everything. I found an old VHS tape of us when we were on the Jenny Jones show. I don't know if you remember the Jenny Jones show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we were on the Jenny Jones, and I wanted to watch it so bad. I couldn't find a VHS player anywhere. I'm looking all around, and my parents live downstairs, and I'm like, do you guys have a VHS player? You know, like, no, they don't even have one. They're like,
right.
They don't even have one. And so, yeah, we did a show. It was called Stripper Makeovers.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So it was Stripper Makeovers.
How the hell did you end up on that show?
I have no idea. Our manager hooked it up. So it was when NBC in Chicago or whatever she was on, and so we did this show, and man, it is a process. It's forever. It's not like a commercial break. Oh, they look pretty now. It's like hours and hours of them like chiseling away at these people.
Yeah, right.
And then they told us they were gonna like tell us when they were gonna air it, because it's gonna be like a couple months later, gonna air it. We were touring, and we were on Vail, Colorado, or something like that. And we stayed in like some fan's house, I think, or maybe one of Andy's relatives. But we were staying in someone's house, and I was in the living room, and I woke up, and I just wanted to see because what the weather was gonna be like. And I turned it on, and I was like, "Oh, Jenny Jones is on." All of a sudden, I'm like, I recognize that girl, that lady. What the hell? And then I kind of started thinking, I was like, guys, I think our show's on. And sure enough, it was our episode, and they never told us.
Now you were playing music, not stripping.
No, I was not. No. No one wants to see that. I did. Yeah, we were playing music. We're the music act.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It took an odd turn there, Bill.
Right. I found my new calling.
Right.
But so it was a funny story when I was kind of going through and looking for some of this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, there's that VHS, and I couldn't find it.
Right. Now we were talking about before the podcast. We were talking about how much I enjoy horns in songs.
Yeah.
And I think I found that I always had music on, but me and a buddy of mine a guy that we were just great friends. We had a bar night every night of the week, right?
Yeah.
So every night of the week we were like, all right, we're going. I think the only night that we didn't go out was Sunday night.
Sure.
Like we were watching football or whatever, and then you pass out, and then Monday we're back out to watch football again. But so he shows up and he's like, where are we going? And I go, I don't know. Doesn't Garnsy's got nickel beers or quarter beers, some fucking shit there? And he's like, I don't want to do it. And we had just gotten into a scrap or something like a couple weeks before. Mm-hmm. So they were going to give us trouble at the door anyway. So he was like, you got any money? And I'm like, I don't know. I got like $400 or $500. And he had like $400 or $500. And I think he got some more money from his brother wired to us when we were out there. But we just got in this Toyota pickup truck, this piece of shit Toyota pickup truck, ran great. A couple pillows and our overnight bag or whatever the hell, and we just hit the road. And my buddy Danny hates the wintertime, so he's like, we're going south. I'm like, all right. And then this other buddy of ours, he's like, Steve, this guy Steve we know works in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So we just start driving. I fall asleep. I wake up. We're in Mississippi. And we get down to New Orleans, and we find out that Steve got transferred from the bank he worked at to Baton Rouge or something like that, like Mississippi. So we're not fuck hang out in Mississippi. So our setup was that we stayed in New Orleans for 21 days.
Oh my God!
I know our road trip was like 32 days. It was insane. I mean, that road trip is a story, and it was awesome. I mean, we were like 21, 22, and there was a plethora of women in their 30s that, like to find a 22-year-old boy.
Right.
So it was a really good time. But on the street there, we were exposed to so much street music. The guys playing the buckets.
Yeah.
The guys with the horns. I was standing on the street. We were, on Bourbon Street in front of one of the bars or something like that, because the street's just packed. Anyone who's never been down to New Orleans, go before you get too old, because it's a beautiful time.
Yeah.
I mean, the French market, everyth's awesome.
It's like a different country there. It's nuts. It's great.
And the culture is different.
Yeah,
There's a Cajun thing going on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different food. One of the funny stories was we were down there, and Danny goes, look, man, oysters. I love that shit. And it was like $2 for like 36 oysters or something. It was like, because they're on the coast.
Yeah, they're right there.
And I go, I love that shit too, man. So we go in there, we buy 36 oysters. Dan thought they were fried clams. So he had like one of them. He's like, what the fuck is this? And I think I ate another like 32 oysters. I was like, gonna have the shits for sure. But anyway, so we were down there, and at one point, somebody just with a trumpet right into when the Saints come marching in.
No way.
And it was like powerful, and I was like, holy shit. He just hit it like super hard, and I don't think he wasn't it might have came out of somewhere, Felix's or something, but it was awesome.
That's
it was like
so
awesome.
Cool.
And from then on in, I'm like, man, I got to pay more attention to horns, because it was moving to say the least, to be right there in front of them. So yeah, I mean, everything down there is
it's still a part of their culture.
So much
music.
horns going on.
Yeah, music and brass and
To find those restaurants that you could get like a really good seafood dinner and hear some like killer Cajun music.
Right.
Because they're playing wash pans and all that other stuff. It gave me a new respect. As I got older, I started to notice things like, if you listen to Dire Straits, I don't know where they're from, but there was some Cajun stuff going on in their music somewhere.
Mark Knopfler's a genius. Yeah, that guy's great.
Right now, do you know where Dire Straits is from?
I don't.
I thought it was Europe, though. I thought it was.
I thought so too. I thought he had an accent, a British accent.
Right.
Yeah.
They can all have a British accent.
That's what you do. Yeah.
I think that gets chicks too.
Right.
But so anyways, so that was like culturally something that I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's terrific. And then through our lifetime, I've enjoyed all of the different like music scenes that take off. So like that Seattle scene took off with the grunge stuff.
Oh yeah, the grunge.
Totally awesome. If heroin wouldn't have gotten involved in that, like we'd have so much more music.
I think so.
Alice in Chains guy dying, Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
But when it comes out of a certain area and there's just a certain sound, it's awesome. Like,
it's neat. It's like that part of the special, and it's kind of neat that like our country can be the home to that many different.
Absolutely.
Usually it's a country sound, but you got the grunge sound, you got the Cajun sound. New Orleans. Yeah, I'll second that. That place is crazy cool to visit.
It's crazy cool. Now you were saying something about something that I'm not. I might be a fan of it. I'm just too dumb to know it. Jazz. So we were talking before the podcast. You're like, I really like jazz, and I'm like,
I did, yeah.
Okay, right. So, but I don't. Sometimes I find out I'm listening to jazz.
Right.
Like, is Nina Simone jazz?
Yeah, definitely a lot of jazz elements. I would say like a fusion jazz. Like that's kind of like the catch-all term for whenever jazz is sort of combined with something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say that.
So fusion.
Like a fusion jazz sort of.
So like if you don't know what Nina Simone is, it's that I'm Feeling Good song is her prior biggest, and then there's actually a couple of
ones too. Yeah.
There's that one that's like rambling, like what is it? Something Man. Oh shit.
I'm trying to think of her
I can't
was it 80s? Did she have like an 80s hit?
I don't know, but there was a Stars thing on that had a song that was in there, and it was Sinner Man.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Sinner Man.
Yeah.
It's like real like train rumbling thing.
Right.
And I mean, it's just awesome. Like I love that stuff, but I don't think she was ever mainstream. And she was like Juilliard, trained as far as that goes. So like I don't know if that's jazz. I love it. And then. Like, what else would I listen to that would be jazz, that somebody would be like, holy shit, I really like that, I didn't realize it. Because jazz, to me, sometimes I feel like it's too all over the place that I can't.
It is, and I feel like that's the reason I like it. I liked it because I was listening to trumpet players, I'm like, man, that sounds really cool,
Yeah, right.
So I feel like I was biased, and I feel the more I started to appreciate music, it sounds weird, the less I like jazz.
Really?
I started to get away from it a little bit because I felt like jazz is so singular to me as far as just trumpet players go.
Right.
It was hard for me to like get into John Coltrane. Like John Coltrane, I'm sure he's a great saxophone player. I'd listen to Miles Davis. I thought Miles Davis there was something special about him, the way he played, his tone wasn't perfect.
Oh my God, yeah, Miles Davis, holy cow.
Yeah, and you can hear mistakes. Like I thought that was cool. Like he'll make a mistake, but he's so cool. He's so cool. It doesn't matter. He can make a mistake. But that's why I feel like I liked it. But I did. The more I listened to music, the more I experienced like just different kinds of music. And the more I actually started playing and creating music, I got a little less into it. I appreciate it. I think there's, it has a place. It's cool. I respect it. I respect people who are really good at that. It's a tough It's a tough
I
art
think
to
I
master.
always gravitated towards, like, I loved the Springsteen, the E Street Band stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like Clarence.
Clemens.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Like Spectacular, and then Spectacular looking too, fucking monster.
Right, he's just a monster,
man.
and that little saxophone is just like a toy in his hand.
Right. I mean, and if you listen to, I think that's part of the appreciation of music thing.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta, like, if you're not somehow moved by when Clarence goes into a solo, then I don't know what you're doing.
No.
Now, on the flip side of that, Kenny G, I can't do. Like,
No.
that's just not a thing for me. Like, I can't.
No,
You know what I mean?
I can't either, and I feel like that's sort of like. Maybe there's Kenny G fans out there, but that's sort of like what jazz shouldn't be. Like I feel like jazz should be kind of raw. You should sort of hear the mistakes. You should hear the reed cracking a little bit. You should to know that it's there and live. Like Kenny G is that overproduced sort of version of that.
Sure. Now, there's some things. How are you on? We're talking about produced music. There are definitely times where I'll judge a band by if you sound good live.
Sure.
Then you're good.
Right.
But if I'm going to listen to a band,
Right.
I kind of like the studio version.
Me too. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I'd rather hear the studio version, but not overproduced. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I don't
sure,
want to
sure,
hear
sure.
it auto-tuned like that, or you don't need to tune your instrument like that. But have a good clean production so I can hear all the
Right.
nuances of your song.
Yeah.
Because in live you can't always get that.
Right, right.
You know what? There's a great live show. I could barely hear the keyboard, or I could barely hear the guitar solo, or whatever.
Just produced stuff. Speaking of that, like, remember Milli Vanilli, right?
Oh, yeah.
The fact that they're just two
They'd be huge now.
Two good-looking African dudes
Right.
who were not singing the songs. But I want to know, and I didn't have time to look into it. Those songs were actually kind of awesome.
They were good songs.
Yes. Who was the artist that was actually singing them?
Yeah.
And where did he go?
Yeah.
Because those, I mean, I'm sure he's ugly.
Right.
But those were awesome songs.
Right.
I mean,
They were good songs, and they
Blame
were
it on
performed
the
well.
rain. Just fucking great.
Girl,
Right. The other one that was like something I liked, but I felt like it was a guilty pleasure growing up was that Toto song. I
Africa?
swept the rains down in Africa.
I just learned that song.
Now
for a party.
Weezer redid that, right?
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It's awesome.
It is an incredible song that, like, I liked then, and, like, the Toto.
It is a good song.
Right,
That's a
right.
cool
It's an
sounding
awesome song. It's
yeah.
You said something about there's so many songs that, like, I got the Echo Dot thing, and I got the Amazon Music.
Yeah.
And I spent, because I love music.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've got a deep, like a big library
Yeah.
as far as it goes, right?
That's good.
Which is fun for me because
Yeah.
I like to, like, know. I have to give, like, props to my dad. We don't talk, but he is a music guy. He was a guy that could tell you what was on the B side of 45s. And
Oh,
stuff, like, growing
really?
up. Yeah. And he definitely was instrumental in my development, as he always had music on. Like,
Sure.
always.
Yeah.
And there were certain things that I rebelled against. He didn't like Elvis. I loved it. So, like, like...
He didn't like Elvis, but you did.
Nah, I think he didn't like Elvis because his dad was like that fucking hayseed.
You
You
got
know what I
it.
mean? Sort
Yeah,
of thing, and but he was, my dad was more Rolling Stones than Beatles. You know what I mean? So, like,
okay, all right.
just dirty hard,
Yeah, yeah.
That's another amazing scene. All those guys and people don't know this, like, I have a box set from the Stones that is, like, the Rooster and, like, all these, like, they're all blues songs
Yeah.
that they sang.
That's all they did.
Yes, it was so...
Muddy Waters, Howlin'
Yes,
Wolf. Yeah.
complete rip-offs from blues songs that
Sure.
they just took and covered them. But all of those guys, Keith Richards, Eric Clapton, if it was not old American blues,
Yeah.
it was rubbish.
It was, yeah.
I mean, if you listen to Dusty Springfield and you didn't know, you would absolutely think she was black.
Yeah.
And then the same with Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Like, that's a black woman singing.
That's true, yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
But I was going there's a bunch, I had that Echo Dot, and I spent 3 weeks just, like, if I was working, trying to stump that fucking thing. Like, I'd be like, all right, play, like, because the music library is huge, and I would be like, play, Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant.
Oh,
You know
yes.
what I mean? Or Radioactive.
Right.
Or I think I'm turning Japanese.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
just all the songs. And then, the other one was Wall of Voodoo. I'm on
my
a Mexican
God.
radio.
What the heck?
So, like, and those are all, like, one-hit wonders.
They're
Like,
all one-hit wonders, yeah.
Eddie Grant never made another song.
No.
But if Electric Avenue comes on, I am
gonna turn it
full,
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Full throttle
Yeah.
Eddie Grant.
Yeah.
And for some weird reason, I don't know if I've got like a weird brain, but like Eddie Grant's not something that's popular anymore. But I will never forget that Eddie Grant sang Electric Avenue.
No.
Golden Earring with Radar Love.
Radar Love.
Yeah. Oh, just awesome.
Got bass line. That's so cool. Yeah.
And then I guess there's certain movies like Golden Earring had a couple that were good. And then
Yeah, they did.
What was the Cochran? The Life is a Highway.
Oh yeah, Eddie Cochran.
Right, Eddie Cochran. So like, there's so much music out there that if you're not like, I'm always kind of weirded out by people that have no music on. And
Right.
so the audio like YouTube won't let me do it, but the audio version of this, I'm gonna. It's been a while since I've seen a CD, so I don't know if I can get.
I can't even give those away to my kids at school. They're like, "What's this
I don't have
for?"
any way to
I'm
play
like,
that. I'm gonna have to put it like in a computer disk drive and try and rip them.
Right.
But if I can rip it off of there, there will be, the music will be playing in the background.
Oh, cool.
It'll be low enough where we can
Sure.
hear each other talk. But I generally, like I said, it's either a podcast or music on all
Right.
the time.
Yeah.
Or I would not have the knowledge of music the way I
Sure.
do. And I mean, my brain's like a sieve. I'm constantly like absorbed, like it's constantly going in.
Right.
So like, like if we want to talk baseball, I can sit there and talk baseball
Right.
for hours. I mean, people
Yeah.
that were playing in the 60s or the 70s, the 80s,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But music, if it is a hit song, holy shit, it's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
And some of it is embarrassing. And I'm 48 now, I give a shit. But I love Hall & Oates.
Oh heck!
Oh
Yeah.
my God, there's some
Yeah,
awesome
hell
Hall &
yeah.
Oates songs.
They had a bunch of hits too.
Yes.
It's not just
Oh
like a
my-
one or two. They
No,
were
just-
putting them out every other week.
right. So like there was so much stuff, but some bands love them. Depeche Mode, everything sounds the same.
Right.
But I think they came up with an album like 4 or 5 years ago, and it sounded exactly the same.
Right.
It was just a different song.
There you go.
Still
you,
good.
You haven't lost it.
Right. And then the bands of the gimmicks, the Flock of Seagulls, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. It was still terrific stuff. I think I'd like to see the documentaries where maybe it's bad, but like that the music industry eats some of those people up, and like their lives are ruined on a one-hit wonder.
One-hit wonders. That'd be a great documentary. Follow
Yes.
some 80s and 90s
sure there's one
one-hit
out there.
wonders. You
Right,
know, like
right.
there might be. That'd be. I'd love to see that. There was a band that we played with in Michigan. They got signed, and something happened that the lead singer hurt himself, and the first album that they got signed to didn't do extremely well.
Yeah.
And so the label dumped them.
Oh.
And they couldn't perform any of their songs anymore live.
They didn't own the royalties.
They
to
sold
this.
their whole catalog.
Oh,
And they had to change their name. They couldn't even keep their name.
Wow.
So they had to change it. And so it's just like an example. This label has nothing to gain from from doing this. They're not.
No, because you
they're
get
not-
more art out of them if
Right.
you.
It just seems like you hear so many of those stories, and I know that people would always come to us. Wow, I can't believe you're not signed. When we were playing full time. And,
Yeah.
and it's just like, well, we're definitely trying, but at the same time, we want to be able to keep playing too.
Right,
we want to
right,
make sure that
right,
it's
right.
not just a thing, but definitely we were definitely trying. We were actively trying. So,
Sure.
but yeah, it's a crazy industry, and you'll hear some music out there that you'll hear live. And like, my God, these guys should be on the radio. Should be hearing them all over the place.
Right.
And then you'll hear something else that is, and you're like, what's going on? Like why do we have this and not that?
Yep.
And it's like acting. You got to get your shot. You got to get in because there are so many. There's just all
I don't know what like the insides of the music industry like that, but like I have Sirius XM in my car, and I will listen to different genres of stuff. I like alternative music that's out now.
Yeah.
Like big fan of like I said, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats.
Right.
Big fan. Like I'm totally digging Cage the Elephant. Oh my God,
yeah, okay,
I love that.
yeah.
Thing. Like I'll play that on that dot, and like they have a huge, and they cover some songs. They cover that. Will Ferrell did a movie called Stranger Than Fiction, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a super cool movie because he was like part of a character in a book. But he sings a song to Maggie Gyllenhaal that is, Cage the Elephant redid it, and I can't remember, it's like Radical Randy. It's some asinine name of a guy, a band, but it was like the only hit he had, and it was like it's that One Girl in the World for Me. You know, maybe she's in Tahiti,
right,
sort of thing. And they redid it, and it's
that's
awesome.
cool.
And there was another one when I was a kid that they redid. I can't remember who did it now, but it was For Your Love.
Oh,
I don't know who the original, the Yardbirds or the Kinks or something like that. For Your Love.
Yeah, that's the Yardbirds, I think.
Okay,
right. I think so. Yeah.
But this punk band redid it, and it was given to me by this buddy of mine, John Faby, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's
and it was not a punk version. Like, everyone thinks when I say punk, like it's just going to be like,
yeah.
It's not. Yeah. They're singing For Your Love.
Right.
It's got a little edge to it that's
sure.
a little dirtier and everything else. But now when I say dirty, like it's like raspy or something's going on.
Little distortion on the guitar, a little something. Yeah.
Right. But anyways, I mean, so yeah, I mean, music has been super important to me since 5-6 years old.
Yeah, it's been a part of my life. Yeah, since I was born. I mean, I still have memories of my dad rocking me on his lap when I was little, and he would be playing like Moody Blues. And there's one thing I always stood out about the Moody Blues was their album covers were just the artwork on there was just so cool. And I remember he'd be playing it, and I would have the album in my lap, and I'm just like a little kid, and I just remember staring at these pictures just in awe, and it was sort of like it had a soundtrack.
Right.
So he's playing.
What was the Moody Blues song where they had there's like it's almost like a King Arthur thing that's going on.
Breathe deep, the gathering.
The gathering gloom. Yeah.
And that was
cutting edge
Tuesday
stuff.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Or Nights in White Satin. It was one of those two.
Right. But that's cutting edge stuff. That was stuff that no one was doing. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
The Queen thing with the opera song,
right.
that's crazy. The Pink Floyd had some stuff that was like, this can't be real.
Right.
As far as the sound you're putting on this.
Yeah.
And then people don't realize that Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys was like the dog
was cutting
barking.
edge.
Yes, right. It was like no one's done this before.
No one.
And I think there was a lot of LSD involved in the Brian Wilson.
Yeah, I think so.
A little maybe too much, right? He fried his brain.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that was like, that was from day one. Music has just been so big.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a musician for it to be big, obviously. It's like...
Right, I'm not.
Yeah.
So anyone out there that doesn't feel like they've, got their... Just start listening to music. Just get
listen.
Right.
Listen to something.
Get involved in it. Go to... so I live right on this lake. The next lake has the Sportsman's Club. And during the summer, there's a big patio out there. They have live music 3 or 4 nights a week. There's live music. So I can go out on my deck and literally not play my sound system that's out there, listen to what they're playing. Now, sometimes I got some country that I got to tune out.
Sure.
But otherwise, it's neat to hear live music all the time. I don't care who's playing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's nice.
No.
It's neat to hear somebody else's take on a Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, it's cool.
Somebody else's take on... I don't hear much hair band stuff from there, but there's some classic rock stuff. You hear some Steve Miller Band and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's neat. I mean,
I will always check out if there's a live band. It's just great, and it's rare. You don't see it as much. Sure. I remember in Grand Rapids when we were coming up playing. I mean, we'd be competing with a band next door. There'd be a bands down the street, and the street would be like 5 or 6 bands going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And you just don't see it as much. It's like a little bit more rare. It's like more of an event, which is cool too, but you don't see as much.
There's some venues like the CD and Me's got some stuff out there. The Maggie Speaks and stuff
Maggie
like
Speaks,
that. Good shows to see. I definitely dig when someone's got some original material.
Yeah.
And if they cover some stuff too, it's great. A little bit of each. But yeah, no, I mean, I'd encourage anyone to do that. And dude, we're 2 hours and 10 minutes into this.
Holy shit.
Yes, let's wrap it up.
Okay, wow.
I gotta take a piss, man. The 2 beers have got me.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you have, I'll for sure, I'd go to a gig if you have one.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that, because I'm seeing all your stuff on my feed now that we're connected.
Right.
Which is
let
crazy.
me know.
Cool.
And you didn't bring your fucking trophy.
You know what? I got a tattoo for you. Here's the thing about the trophy. It's it's in the repair shop.
Oh, shut
It's being repaired right now. So if anybody from the fantasy, it broke. I dropped it.
So Bill's got a trophy that he takes all these photos and inconspicuously the trophy's in the picture.
Yeah.
Because he won a fantasy football league trophy.
It'll never happen again. I started 0-4. It's not going well. So I got to get it fixed up because it's going away soon.
Right, inside joke as far as that goes. But it's funny. Those are adorable. Look at this guy, man. That's good. Good stuff. But cool, man.
All right.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Have a good
absolutely, my
time.
pleasure. I'll bring Andy next time.
Yeah. Let me know when.
All right, sounds good.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I can't believe that was 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours and 12 minutes.
One month of summer, you'd get the cottage, spend time with the family at Luna Pier Beach. And I love Uncle Otto, Grandma and Grandpa, Clovis and me. And they'd say, sing, Jimmy, sing, the world will dance around you. Oh, sing, Jimmy, sing, it makes them glad. Sing, Jimmy, sing, the world will dance around you. Oh, sing, Jimmy, sing, that's my day. Who would have thought in Toledo, Ohio, that's where it started, that brought us today. 60 years later, the same thing's happening. We are that family, but in different ways. And we say, sing, Jimmy, sing, and the world will dance around you. Oh, sing, Jimmy, sing, it makes them glad. Sing, Jimmy, sing, and the world will dance around you. Oh, sing, Jimmy, sing, that's my day. Sing, Jimmy, sing, and the world will dance around sun, run from the moon and escape to the sun. Father and daughter and mother and son.
Hi, Andy Holgreave. This is Chris Stankey. I'm the percussion instructor for Whitney. Is it a rumor that you guys might be looking for a new drummer to take over for Tad's seat? I'm not sure if this is true or not, rumor, but if you guys are accepting auditions, I would definitely be interested. I've been a fan for a while, and I think I'd have a lot of fun with you guys. If you're accepting auditions, why don't you give me a call at 2 is my home number, where I can be reached before 2 in the afternoon most days. But Andy, if you're interested, please give me a call. I look forward to speaking to you. Take care.
A day, I'm in my head. Do you? I don't think so. Have you ever thought only once, but I was just a boy? Got to know, and do I have the faith to keep it going? Everything is happening at one time. Twisting, turning, swarm of nothing. Oh my. 24 hours a day, I'm in my head. 24 hours a day, I'm in my head. Demons getting stronger, dealing with the mess just a little longer, falling to my knees in desperation. Well, I find peace in incantation. Everything is happening at one time. Twisting, turning, swarm of nothing. Oh my. Thank you.